You turn off US 220 through a normally quiet little neighborhood of modest homes, down into this swale where in 1947 Clay Earls and Phil France built this beautiful little speedway. Welcome to the Advance Auto Parts 500 at Martinsville. 43 cars, drivers, and teams at the ready to go 500 laps on this tight, tough half mile. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR and proud sponsor of Budweiser Full Awards, given to the fastest qualifier at each NASCAR Nextel Cup Series race. Scott Riggs, previous best effort fourth on 4 occasions, and he nips Ryan Newman by 3/1000ths of a second and is the latest Budweiser shootout eligible driver. Scott Riggs. Have a look at the starting lineup for today's Advance Auto Parts 500 as we're ready to go racing on a beautiful day. Hi everybody, welcome to Martinsville. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip with you from, I'll make no bones about it, it's my favorite little racetrack. I love this place. The intimacy of this place. It's Lambeau Field, it's Wrigley Field, it's Fenway Park. You walk through the little neighborhood to come in here. You get one of those red Jesse Jones Franks. You look at the dogwoods and the azaleas in bloom in April. And at the end of the day, somebody gets a big, beautiful clock. This place is just steeped in tradition. It may be the same size around as Bristol, Darrell. Nothing like it.
No, it isn't. This is Bristol laid down. This has only got 12 degrees of banking in a turn. It doesn't even look like that. It looks pretty flat. But one thing all short tracks have in common, hard to pass. You're going to have to do the bump and run. You're going to have to wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake. If he doesn't, you're going to have to help him. But Larry, as you know, one of the things that's toughest about all these short tracks is the pits.
Yeah, but the thing about it, DW, even though it's different from Bristol, yeah, it's a Bristol that they don't let the air out of, is if you're going to get the victory lane and you're going to win one of those clocks, you have to be patient. You have to keep that car out of trouble, and you can't let your emotions run away with you. Now, the other thing I think that's going to be similar to Bristol, and this has not always been the case here at Martinsville, I know Matt Yoakum talked about track position, but I think a lot like Bristol, a lot like in the truck race yesterday, I think if you're going to win this race, you're going to have your strategy where you have pretty fresh tires on the end of that car at the end of this race.
Track position, softer tires, a lot of strategies to play out here, just as we saw last week. So take the banking away, and you've got this beautiful half-mile little racetrack, and they don't have seats to the sky here just yet, but this place is packed full of race cars and race fans. Steve Burns.
Mike Joy, Jimmy Johnson, our points leader, finished 4th here a year ago, and he won the fall event here. 5 straight top 10 finishes. So what in the heck is he doing starting way back in 37th? Well, crew chief Chad Canals told me this morning they've struggled all weekend to get faster. He said Jimmy's comfortable in the race car, but they made major changes to the car, springs, shocks, control arms, you name it on the front end. It's all different as of this morning. So all that said, he said what they need to do is be around near the front with 80 laps to go, and they'll have a shot to win this race again. To Jeannie's Alaska.
Well, Steve, with a last name like Petty, you are bound to get attention at a racetrack. But Kyle Petty, driver of the 45, getting a lot of attention, turning a lot of heads. It seems the off-season work with Evernham Motorsports and close work with Dodge is really paying off. If you need proof, did you see what happened at Bristol last week? His first top 10 finish in almost 3 years. Kyle says the difference was patience. I know what he told Chris Myers. He said he doesn't have any, but we saw it, and that was the difference last week. This team riding a high, but Kyle also saying, hey, look out for my teammate, Jeff Green, in the 43. Could we be seeing the reemergence of Petty Enterprises? Mike?
Could well be, Jeannie. Richard, Kyle's dad, the track's all-time Cup winner here.
I mean, that's optimum racing weather right there. 70 degrees, but look right here. We go to some asphalt tracks, we go to concrete tracks. Martinsville has both, but the main important part is that concrete that's in the corners, only 85 degrees. But trust me, 500 laps, this racetrack's going to get slick. These cars will start sliding around.
Yeah, one thing you got to be careful of there is, I don't care if you're lapping the car. When you go up on the outside right now, there's so much rubber, so much debris. They're blowing the track as we speak. But as the race goes along, that outside groove is not there, and you can get in big trouble.
Chris, as the cars come to life and fill in behind the pace truck, these fans are on their feet.
And drivers ready to go. Jeff and I spoke with Jimmy Johnson prior to the race. Steve Burns reporting the points leader starting 37th. And how can he correct some of the problems Steve referred to?
Well, he's always talking about how they changed the springs and the shocks and all the combinations. What the problem with the car was, in fact, it wasn't rolling through the corner like he needed for it to. Driving well, but not quick enough. And Jimmy and his crew chief right there, Chad Canals, decided, hey, if we want to get from where we are and get this car toward the front, we're going to have to take a chance today and kind of roll the dice. And they've done that. So we're going to get a chance to see whether or not this championship leading team can get it done from way back there.
A tight pit road. Who has the best or worst pit stalls as we watch today's race, and how will it play out?
Well, the guy right now is on the pole, Scott Riggs, has definitely got the best pit as far as I'm concerned. He's right there at pit number 1, so he can come down and barely beat anybody off the pit road. The rest of the guys all the way back through the field, well, the next guy I think's got a pretty good pit. Happens to be the guy starting outside. That's Ryan Newman. He is way back around the corner, but he's got an opening. You need an opening. Very tight pit road, but you got to be able to get in and out of your pits.
April is National Car Care Month. A great time to give your car a checkup and ease.
Be car care aware for a safe and dependable car.
Safe and dependable car.
Be car care aware.
Be car care aware. Be car care aware and take care of little things before they become big things. Take care of your car and it'll take care of you. Be car care aware. I'm car care aware. Are you car care aware?
Here we go. The Chevy safety truck is on pit road, and for the first time in his Cup career, Scott Riggs, a former truck race winner here, will bring them down to the green flag. Ryan Newman on the outside.
DW 1,000 times off of these corners. Reach up there, pull those belts tight. One more time.
I mean it, boys. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. Scott Riggs was very gingerly getting down into turn 1, which he knew he didn't want to slide up into Ryan Newman, who's hanging on the outside.
Well, who's going to lead the first lap?
I think Newman, whoa, no. That's what I think Scott
Jeremy Mayfield will lead it. The 19 car who was running third, and those two guys got together.
They stacked up all back in behind them.
Yeah, turn 4, a lot of bump and bang, but nobody bounced out.
But I was watching Scott Riggs, and he must have known his car was a little free because he got into turn 1 very, very gingerly, then about spun it out if it hadn't been for Ryan Newman down here in turn 2. And whoa!
Rusty
Up the hill they go again.
Track, and then Ryan Newman as well. I believe he may have a flat tire, possibly from that contact with Scott Riggs.
From the contact.
No caution yet, but he's sitting there. And, of course, the pit road entrance is over in turn 3. Now we have a caution flag. Now Ryan Newman will get going.
And now he'll probably be sitting at the end of pit road here in this short period of time.
Scott Wimmer was already on pit road. He was part of the accordion effect in turn 4. But that doesn't appear to be the problem. They got the hood up on Wimmer's car. And Ryan Newman, for doing something that we see a lot on short track Saturday nights. A driver will have problems. He'll stop on track.
One lap penalty, it looks like.
He'll stop on track to draw the caution. Sometimes the officials make it a penalty, sometimes not. In this case, it's a penalty.
But, Darrell, that 1 lap penalty, I think that's still less than what he would have got trying to limp around this racetrack with a flat tire and make it a green flag pit stop.
Yeah, but like I said when he was sitting there, he'll be sitting at the end of pit road before this is all over with.
Lap 1, racing for the lead.
Riggs is just real loose. See the back end come around? He bounces off of Ryan. Hadn't been for that, he'd have spun out. That's what cut Ryan's tire down. Here comes Ryan again. Now he realizes he's got a tire down. Does a good job keeping it out of the fence.
A lot of pit stops. Matt Kenseth's in, Dale Jr., Dale Jarrett, Randy LaJoie, Ryan Newman.
Now, I asked this question because I'm not sure. If you get a 1 lap penalty, can he go to the front of the inside line and restart?
We'll have to check.
We'll have to check on that.
I'm not sure there is. I think there's a situation where if they penalize you and nobody's been lapped, you can't do that. I'm not sure.
You know, what they're doing on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car right now, he must have banged wheels with someone, and they're actually checking the toe out with that long piece of tubing right there to see if one of the front wheels maybe got knocked in.
Okay, you got to pull that left front out, get that out. It's up top, too. Hey, time to start back.
NASCAR officials confirm that he will be able to pull up next to the leader when they restart. Matt?
Mike, the NASCAR officials holding the 12 of Ryan Newman. Typical Martinsville cosmetic damage on the left side, but he will
sit here on pit road for one lap. And Larry Mack, like you mentioned, really, the penalty could have been a lot worse had the caution not come out by him stopping. To get that caution, probably 2, maybe even 3 laps. Now he is pulling away.
But let me tell you something. Look at those left side tires. You know how much air is in left side tires? Single digits. They're down under 10 pounds in the left side tires to start these races. And when they put new tires on, it's easy to knock one of them down.
Let's get an update on our pole sitter from Jeannie.
Who has started this race with an apology to Ryan Newman. He came on the radio right at the caution and said, you know, tell the 12 car, I did not mean to get loose back there. I'm sorry. But the 2 car of Rusty Wallace just did that to me.
Jimmy Johnson stopped just to top off the tank.
Now, here's the problem with some of those guys that pitted, like Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson. When the leader right now, Jeremy Mayfield, gets the green flag over here at the start-finish line, the back of the pack's going to be over here, already a lap down. I think it'll be pretty easy for Ryan Newman to get this lap back, but then he'll be back there.
If I'd have been Dale Jr. and some of those guys had to pit, I'd have pulled up behind Ryan Newman and waited, just like he did. You'd be a whole lot better off.
Getting set for the restart. Jeremy Mayfield, who was really strong in both practices and had the fastest long run in practice, he's the race leader, taking advantage of the contact between Riggs and Newman to jump to the lead.
Now you see where Ryan Newman is. I mean, he's sitting there, he gets the free pass, he gets a lap back. No harm, no foul.
Jeremy Mayfield did have one of the better cars in short runs and long runs yesterday in practice.
Yeah, he led both practices yesterday. He's been hot and fast ever since we got here. Oh, Slugger Labby might have found the hot tip for this concrete.
Tell you what, though, that blue car right there, Ryan Newman's teammate, Rusty Wallace, and the 2 car running in second right now. I don't know that I've ever seen this in Rusty's career. He quit practice early yesterday. He was that happy with that race car.
Well, I would tell you why, but he told me not to.
Okay.
He was going somewhere, and he wanted to get there in a hurry. And his car was good, too.
Teammates, Sterling Marlin on the outside of Casey Mears, looking back from Kyle Petty.
Boy, I see a bunch of loose race cars right now.
That's a battle for 17.
When you got the air down as low as they got them, they got about 18 pounds in the right side tires, 9 or 10 in the left side tires. It takes about 8 or 10 laps for the pressures to build up where the car will handle right.
And Darrell, the reason they start them that low, we saw how long a green run could be here. If you do not start them down, the air pressures will get too high over a long run, so you have to start them down.
Scott Wimmer's problem was, Jeff Green goes for a spin, exiting turn 4.
Caution is out.
Come on, buddy, get going. You won't lose much.
And he is not going to get hit.
But Ryan Newman now will be back on the lead lap. He's going to be at the back of the pack, but he will be back on the lead lap.
The rule used to be, as Darrell pointed out, that you could not pull up to the inside of the leader until lapping on the track had begun. That rule has since been changed. So Newman was eligible to pull up alongside the leader for the restart, and he is eligible for the free pass. Now let's see what happened to the Petty number 43, the Cheerios car of Jeff Green.
Looks like his car, Darrell, you've been talking about it, all these cars loose in these early runs. He just got loose on the bottom of the racetrack. Good qualifying run, though. Qualified 14th, but now he'll be at the back.
Well, he falls from 11th to 20th after this spin. You're watching NASCAR on Fox. Green flag once again in Martinsville, in a strange turn of events. Ryan Newman got the free pass, pitted, but did not get out of the pits and beat the paddle because the pace car was coming around. So he's a lap down again, and they let you pull up with 1 lap to go, but Newman couldn't get all the way up next to Jeremy Mayfield. So right now he's 1 lap down, 9th in line.
But that's not bad. Larry and I were just talking about, I think it's his strategy. Work on the car now, lose the lap now, because you go to the front of the pack.
But I think he definitely would have liked to have got up there back beside the leader before the green flag instead of being 9th in line.
Right.
Jeff Gordon has come to 11th from 16th. Dick Bergman.
Car's a little bit loose, Mike, but the thing they are concerned about in Jeff Gordon's pit is the water temperature. Water temperature began to rise even on the pace laps, and before that caution flag, it had risen to 235 degrees. That is not boiling because these radiators are pressurized, but it's getting close to the point that they wouldn't want it to get hot any more than it is right now. And Darrell, I think the problem is these guys ran practice yesterday, and you get lured into running a lot of tape on those. You can see quite a bit of orange tape on that top opening, and out there when you're racing like this, there's no air flowing through that radiator.
I would never start a race at Martinsville. I don't care if it's 30 degrees, with any tape on my grill, on my brake ducts or on my grill, because I knew, first of all, I might get damaged. And second of all, you're going to get hot, and you can't win the race if you blow all the water out of it.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. started 26th. He is now in 37th spot. He pitted twice during the second caution. What's up, Matt?
Compounding the problem for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He pitted twice under the first caution, and the reason being cosmetic damage, contact right here with Elliott Sadler, the 38 car to the left front. He thought he might have knocked the toe out, so he made 2 stops, changed left side tires under the first caution. This past caution, he wanted to come in and change right side tires. The problem, he was so deep in the field, by the time he hit pit road, he was going to lose a lap due to where the pace car was on the racetrack. So they made a track bar adjustment to try to free up that race car until they can do more adjustments on the next stop.
If you look at the tape on Dale Jr.'s nose, I mean, he's got a lot of tape on the grill. He's got a lot of tape on the brake ducts. That's just, in my opinion, I would never start the race with that much tape on my race car at this racetrack.
Especially on those brake ducts. Tell you what, we got a battle for the lead heating up with Rusty Wallace in the 2 car, started back in the 4th position. Remember, it was this race he won a year ago. This is the same chassis he had here, of course, with the new Dodge Charger body.
How about the chance of 3 weeks in a row, a double weekend winner? Bobby Labonte would love to follow Carl Edwards and Kevin Harvick in that position. He won yesterday's Craftsman truck race, the Kroger 250, and he just took 5th away from Greg Biffle.
And he joined a very elite club yesterday by winning that race. There's not that many drivers that have won races in Nextel Cup, Busch, and now the Truck Series, as Bobby Labonte did yesterday, his first win in the Truck Series.
But one of the things that was unique about Bobby's, he did them all 3 right here. Busch, Cup, and Truck right here at this same racetrack.
Mike Garvey has gone behind the wall, and now Randy LaJoie, smoking out the left tailpipe, comes to pit road, maybe making an early exit as well.
Scott Wimmer, the 22, continues to make unscheduled pit stops. We heard earlier that they was having some power steering problems or issues. Oh, yeah, Texas next week. I hear it has now become the fastest racetrack on the circuit.
That'd be T for Texas and probably T for trouble.
Speaking of Texans,
and there's his Terry
and his brother, Jeannie.
Absolutely. Bobby Labonte on the scanner saying the car's a little tight past mid-center, but we still haven't run enough to tell. But quite honestly, guys, the unfortunate part is that as we creep up to even lap 15, lap 20, that's some of the longest we have seen Bobby Labonte out on the track this season. His Cup team has just struggled. Labonte said that any success is appreciated. That's why the Cup team really riding a high today. First thing that they said to me, everyone, as I walked into the hauler, did you see what our guy did yesterday? Did you see he got a win out here on the track? They're really trying to feed off that emotion.
And you're right, Jeannie. He has had a good race car. Had a great race car at Bristol last week. Made it pretty deep into that race and ended up getting caught up in someone else's trouble.
And that's the thing about Bristol last week, Martinsville this week. It gives the driver a chance to show what he can do. And that's what I like about having short tracks. I also like having them back-to-back because you can gain so much from one week to the next and apply it here this weekend.
The huge conveyor belt at work here, and most of the passing being done on the inside as Joe Nemechek and Kurt Busch demonstrate just how that's done. Busch looking for room on the bottom. This is for 7th place.
See right behind them, Ryan Newman in the 12 car. He's really not made any positions on the track up, but Darrell, there's no need in him pushing the envelope. But right now, as our leader starts to lap cars, that could put him where he would not get the free pass if someone else in front of him is a lap down.
I tell you, speaking of lap down, there's some cars right up in front of Jeremy and Rusty here. There's the Matt Kenseth, Dale Jr., Michael, and Jimmy Johnson, who are just all on the same straightaway with our leaders right now, and they're in traffic.
It's been a long time since we've seen that Lowe's car, Jimmy Johnson, in that 48 struggle like that race team has struggled here all weekend long, especially considering they won the last time we were here.
And Kenseth, he's the last of that group right now. He's only 3 seconds from being a lap down, he's got to go, but where can you go? You got all good cars right in front of you.
And just to follow up a little bit, Larry, I know for a fact the sit-ups are so different than what guys have been accustomed to running here for a long time that I think that may have bitten the 48 this week.
Meanwhile, Mayfield keeps picking them up and putting them down. He and Rusty Wallace used to be teammates at Penske Racing. They didn't get along all that well then. They do now. Jeremy drives Rusty's Busch car, and he says he's matured a lot since those days. Rusty Mayfield leads the advance on a Parts 500.
Fox, fun to have you back in Martinsville. 35-year-old Jeremy Mayfield of Owensboro, Kentucky, trying to hold off Rusty Wallace and Kevin Harvick. Into the top 10, Jeff Gordon came to Martinsville 12th in Nextel Cup points. Looks like he's headed in.
Yeah, right now he's been having trouble. I think Dick Burton's down there. Dick?
Well, the trouble right now is he feels a vibration. He remembers last week at Bristol when they had a wheel problem that also caused a vibration. He called the vibration for the first time about 5 or 8 laps ago. And just a moment ago, he said it's so bad that he has to bring the car in. Water temperature also rising on the 5-time Martinsville winner who now comes into his pit. Crew going to change all 4 tires, and hopefully that will solve it. Rusty Wallace to the lead meanwhile.
Wallace took advantage of Jeremy Mayfield as they ran up on a fast pack of traffic. Something is going to break loose in that group of cars. Matt Kenseth, the first one just ahead of leader Rusty Wallace. Just in front of him, all good cars. Jeff Green, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Michael Waltrip, Jimmy Johnson fighting hard to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, and in the meantime, that allows Kevin Harvick to close up to the back of Jeremy now. And it's getting real tense right here in front of these guys.
But just to show you what a green flag pit stop will do for you, Jeff Gordon in 24 lost almost 2.5 laps by virtue of that green flag pit stop.
Kenseth gives way to the new leader, Rusty Wallace, and goes a lap down. Mayfield now sits in second, Matt.
Rusty working at his 8th win here at Martinsville, but a lap and a half before the pass, Jeremy Mayfield came on the radio and said, it is really getting slick down in turns 1 and 2, losing a lot of grip. And then Rusty took advantage of that and set him up and went on to take the lead.
Steve? Well, Matt, Rusty Wallace is bearing down on Jimmy Johnson. Johnson, the winner here in October, in danger of going down a lap. Darrell Waltrip was exactly right. Chad Canal said the notes they had from their winning car a year ago just didn't seem to work. They went back to scratch, back to the basics this morning, changed wholesale things with the geometry. Chad Canal, the crew chief, has already said, if the leaders come up on you, let them go by. We'll get the car better. Dick Bertrand.
Well, when Jeff Gordon pitted, they must have heard Darrell. They pulled his tape off the nose of the car, and it was a loose right front wheel. That is a garage mistake. That wheel apparently was not properly tightened before Gordon's car was pushed to the line.
And Dick, that's a terrible mistake because this was not an impound race. These guys had a checklist on that car, and that car sat in the garage area and was worked on for another 7 or 8 hours after that final practice yesterday. Huge mistake.
A tough break for Gordon and a log jam here. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is racing the 4 of Mike Wallace for position. They have raced cleanly. Jr. is going to stay out ahead of Rusty by 2 car lengths. Jeff Green and Mike Wallace now in jeopardy of going a lap down. Heavy traffic.
Yeah, and it's just so difficult when you try to go around the outside. Michael tried to go around the outside of the 4 car there a couple of laps ago, and the whole field, all those cars right there running with him all went by him because he couldn't get back down.
And Mike Wallace had a decent qualifying run on Friday, but those guys had to change engines, so he had to go to the rear of the field, and it just painted him in a box that he just can't get out of.
And in the meantime, I know we're watching this. This is great. But there's Kevin Harvick closing up. Not too far behind is Bobby Labonte. And here comes Tony Stewart.
The Gibbs cars always run well here, and they are closing. Trouble for Johnny Sauter. And Sauter qualified poorly, but moved up from 40th.
That's a flat tire. He's got the look of a right front.
He'd come from 40th to 23rd, Darrell, and now he's got to get to the pit.
And it's a long way to that pit entrance. Remember, you enter pit road all the way over in turn 3 right now as a bunch of cars just about got him as they came off turn 4.
Now, that's the worst thing. Going into 3 would be absolute worst place to have anything happen because you got to go all the way around the racetrack.
Now the problem, these cars will have to go around him on the high side. We've already talked about that second groove in 1 and 2. And Carl Edwards just got turned around the 99 car by Dale Jarrett in the 88. Caution is out.
That happened, Larry, not all that far from the eye of the storm. those cars too.
Guys, we got spun out.
We're being told by their teams, leaders coming. You got to get going.
And there's only one way you can get going here. That's to knock people out of your way. And as it goes, the day goes on, that just keeps getting worse.
Johnny Sauter had come from 40th to 23rd.
Oh, man, the tire just let go right there off of turn 2.
Green flag.
We're going to have quite the fight on that inside line. Matt Kenseth in the 17 went a lap down. Remember Ryan Newman in the 12. He liked to get up there, and it almost went 3 wide off turn 2.
Yeah, Rusty really didn't give Matt a whole lot of room getting down in turn 1. He run him on the curve, actually. I thought it was going to be worse than it was.
Well, Kenseth has the preferred line. He gets a little into Wallace again, but can't get alongside exiting 4.
Kenseth's going to have a right front tire go down here in a second if he keeps banging into Rusty like that.
Things settle out just a little bit here. We'll check with Steve.
Mike, more evidence as to how physical this racetrack is. That's all that's left of a tire and wheel, more appropriately. They came off the 15 of Michael Waltrip.
Steve,
he made
turn
contact
2.
with Mike Wallace. Carl Edwards and Hermie Sadler spun on the racetrack.
The steering locked up or quit. I mean, the steering just locked.
Brings the caution out for the 4th time.
You heard Carl Edwards say something about it's like his steering just locked up, and he's had quite an eventful weekend here, a lot like Bristol. He crashed in practice here on Friday, only got 6 laps, qualified deep in the field. They actually got the car pretty good in practice, but a lot of damage on that car. There's definitely some problems.
Daryl, if you suddenly lose the power steering, can it feel like it just locks up on you?
Oh, yeah, and when you are on this low of air pressure, sometimes that power steering box will stick because it's trying to turn those flat tires.
Matt?
Carl Edwards has even bigger problems in his steering. They're going back to the garage. They have holed the radiator. It's leaking. They're going to have to go back and change it.
See, it just came around with him like something definitely went on. And then, of course, Hermie Sadler in the 66 just nowhere to go. Of course, that's where the radiator damage on both cars came.
Well, he gets up on the curb. What's going on? I tell you, when you have low air, you hit the curb, more likely you just can't get the thing to turn because it sticks to power steering. Let's see what Hermie looked at here. Let's see what he thinks.
They think Carl's going to stop down there, but Carl lets off the brake spotter. Go high, no, go low, no. You're right in the middle of it.
Too late.
On the restart, it'll be Rusty Wallace once again in front of Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle.
And we have teammates starting on the front row there. Remember what happened here between those teammates in the fall race between Rusty Wallace and the 2 of Ryan Newman in the 12. But right now, Ryan Newman is trying to stay the first car lap down where he can get that free pass should we get a caution.
Yeah, Ryan's just not, he's not as good as Rusty right now. Matter of fact, I don't think Bobby Labonte might be. Those first 4 cars, Bobby Labonte, Jeremy Mayfield, and Kevin Harvick, and I think Tony Stewart, those are the 4 best 5 cars right now. 4 or 5 best cars out there right now.
Biffle to the outside around the lap car of Scott Wimmer. He's got Joe Nemechek and Mark Martin in tow right behind this group, where Jeff Gordon tries to continue to fight to get back from being 3 laps down. Matt Kenseth has gotten a free pass. He's back on the lead lap. Stewart to the inside. Harvick gives him enough room.
I think that what I'm seeing with the 18 and the 20, they are on it this weekend. They got their Martinsville package working pretty darn good.
And Daryl, I watched that 20 car, Tony Stewart right there on the inside of Kevin Harvick. He'll take that position away. That was a battle for 4th place. He definitely looked like he had one of the better cars on long runs yesterday in that practice.
Got a car slow here in turn 4. It's Dave Blaney.
He had trouble in turn 2, Daryl. He just, but it was past the entrance to pit road.
Right front
trying
tire.
to limp around to get to the pit.
Yeah, his right front tire's down.
Here's Matt.
Tony Stewart just jumped into the 4th position. Kurt Busch trying to follow Smoke into the top 5. Now, Tony said his car was tight to center, but he had really good forward bite up off. Meanwhile, the defending series champion and former winner here, he's complaining of a tight condition as well. 2 Roush cars at 97 and 16 were right in the 20s mirror, but the 16 of Bithell was at a great year. He's a little tight now on stickers, but once they can get the car to turn, then Greg told his crew chief Doug Richard he will try to evaluate forward bite then.
And that's always the challenge here. You need that car to rotate and turn in the middle of the corner and those front wheels bite. But sometimes when you fix that, then you start spinning the rear tires and get loose off the corner. It's like walking a tightrope as far as the adjustments.
Just give me the forward bite. I'll fight with it in the middle of the corner because nobody's going to pass me there anyway. Just let me gas it and go.
Tell you what, right now it appears they have the problem resolved on Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. He's keeping tempo with Tony Stewart in the 20, but right now he's 3 laps down back in 37th position. But we have a long way to go. We know on a short track, if you can get back to the front, it's a little easier to make those laps up.
Well, he's going to have to do it the hard way, though. He's going to have to race his way by the leaders because the free pass goes to the cars that are 1 lap down. So he's got his work cut out for him.
Rusty Wallace with the most comfortable lead you may see all day. He is half a second ahead of Bobby Labonte, but he has his teammate Ryan Newman 1 lap down as the jam car separating Rusty from 2nd place Bobby Labonte. Jeannie is in Bobby's pit.
Yes, DW, you with me here, my friend? I'm going to need you at the end. I'm going to need you here. A lot of talk in my pits about rubber buildup on the track. And Bobby Labonte saying it was not like this during the truck race. He suggested maybe because there are fewer trucks on the track. And quite honestly, it's pretty hot down here today. Bobby says that he has to adjust his line through the corner because the buildup is so great. Here's where you come in, DW. He says it's causing the car to chatter or shake. As I said, best demonstrated by you, my friend. And enter your necessary sound effect of choice to explain chatter.
Well, that would be...
Trouble 1.
Mikey goes around hard in the outside wall.
Caution. 5th one today.
And that will be the caution that Ryan Newman was looking for, because Ryan Newman in the 12 now, he will be back on the lead lap.
Well, I'm glad we got those safer barriers here now. That's exactly what they were made for. Left side, driver left side impact.
Apparently he's got damage at both ends. I'm not sure how much of it was due to this run into turn 1. The rear damage, yes. The front damage, I don't think so.
No, I think so, Mike. That's pretty serious. The left front's caved in. You see the nose pushed over. Left rear. I think we'll see somebody gets into him getting down in here. Here we come. This is coming to the accident. Ooh, yeah. I think his old buddy Jeff Green, another Owensboro native, and Michael, who have had run-ins before at Rockingham in a Busch race. Michael may not be very happy with his old buddy.
Green flag. Rusty Wallace hauls him off in turn 1. Jeff Gordon trying to get one of his 3 laps back. And on those pit stops, Jimmy Johnson did not beat the paddle at the end of pit road. It was turned to stop, and Johnson, the point leader, is a lap down.
That's what happens when you come in from the back of the pack to make a pit stop. You just don't have much time to get the work done.
DW, you talked about it. Jeff Gordon, he having to get these laps back the hard way. He'll get one of them back right now as they go off into turn 1. I think he's got a good race car. Look how far he pulls away. In fact, now we've got a battle for the lead with Bobby Labonte and the 18 on the inside.
I say 18 and 20, they are the 2 cars you got to keep an eye on today, because those cars are hooked up big time. And I think part of that, Bobby Labonte run that truck race yesterday, won it. I think it's paying off.
What a move Tony Stewart, the 20 car made. He dove to the inside. He wants that 2nd spot for Rusty Wallace. I mean, he drove that thing about 10 car lengths deeper than Rusty into turn 1.
You can't name 2 other drivers that'll take it 3 wide into a corner against that bunch here.
I think he caught Rusty sleeping. I don't think Rusty ever expected him to go that low going into 1.
I'm thinking.
Well, I know
Dale Earnhardt, Cale Yarborough.
Okay, Buddy Baker.
And Buddy Baker.
and maybe you at one time. All right, that's a handful.
What a move, though, going into turn 1 by Tony Stewart in that 20 car.
We got to see this again. We're still shaking our heads up here.
It's coming off a 2 to go down to turn 1 where all this takes off.
Now watch Tony Stewart in the 20 car right there. Rusty Wallace thinks he has the right position. 3 wide right there. And then, of course, Tony Stewart having the preferred line in the bottom. He'll go in the 2nd spot.
But yeah, Mike, we did not have that many cars make pit stops on that last caution, but Jimmy Johnson did. He got trapped in the pits. Very easy to do here.
It must be, Larry, because it keeps happening.
Here's Matt.
And Rusty Wallace running in third. Now, under that caution, he was telling his team that the car feels good, but his big concern, Rusty says he's using a little more brake than normal as the 19 works on the inside of the Blue Deuce. Now, also, under that caution, his radio was almost like the old party line. Roger Penske was on it. His crew chief, Larry, was on it. And also, his brother Kenny chimed in with a little historical significance.
Yes.
Hey, Russ. You moved into second there. That's 40 laps left. Good job. Oh, thank you. All we need to do is lead 200 more. Well, we need to lead the rest of them. But yeah, really great job, man. Congratulations.
And the congratulations was he took over second on the all-time lap leader list here at one of the most historical racetracks, passing, I believe, Darrell, was it maybe you?
Yeah, he informed me Friday night on trackside that he was only like 34 laps behind me, and so that was one of his goals today, was to get up there and pass me. And he did it, and now I think he'll just ride a while.
They're the all-time lap leaders.
Well, you know, none of us drivers pay any attention to stuff like that. It's just one of those things that I'm sure Matt probably is the only one that even knew that.
Well, it's how many times you lead the last lap, Darrell, that counts.
Good point.
I tell you what, a guy I've been watching, not making a lot of noise, didn't qualify that good on Friday. Mark Martin in the 6 car qualified 22nd. Good pit stop a while ago. He's up there now battling for the 7th position. He's in the 7th position. All these cars that are around him, remember, are 1 or more laps down. Jimmy Johnson in the 48, Michael Waltrip in the 15, Mike Wallace in the 4. But he was happy with his car yesterday. He said it's probably the best car he's had here at Martinsville in several years.
Dick Berggren with more.
Well, he's not terribly happy with his race car right now. However, the brakes are not working well for Mark Martin. He said he's got quite a chatter. It's interesting to see how well Mark is working here today. He's won here twice at Martinsville, but in a pre-race comment, he said Martinsville is a place I've always hated with a passion. Yet he has run well here time after time after time, and include today.
One of the things you're going to hear a little bit more of today is brakes. We haven't heard much about them here for the last 2 or 3 years. Don't forget about the gear rule. These cars have a little bit higher gear in the back than what they're used to pulling here. That means the car's going to roll into the corner a lot faster. It's going to take more brake to slow it down. So could have some brake issues.
Let's go to the back end of the top 10, where Ricky Rudd driving for the hometown favorites, the Wood brothers from nearby Stewart, Virginia. Right in behind Greg Biffle in the Jackson Hewitt Ford. They're running in a pack with Scott Riggs, the pole sitter, who recovered from that lap 1 spin to hold on to the 8th spot. Now, this group of cars is about 0.6 of a second behind Mark Martin, all fighting for position as Rudd makes the move to the inside off turn 2. 9th place at stake here.
I've been watching these cars right behind them. You see Mike Bliss in the 0 car. This is a team that's just been good and solid all year long. They had a little bit of a glitch at Bristol, but right behind him, Kyle Busch in the 5 car qualified back in 21st position. I've been watching him. He's been making moves up to 12th. Never had even seen this racetrack until they tested here a couple of weeks ago. So he's proven that you don't necessarily have to have experience here. You just have to stay clean.
You know, one of the things that I was hearing all through the garage is normally this is a track where you run really, really soft rear springs and a rear sway bar. One of the few places you'd run a rear sway bar. Well, what has happened with the new surface, the softer tire, and everything that's taking place here, they've done away with the rear bar, and now they've got big rear springs. A lot like the super speedway. I heard 400, 500, and 600-pound rear springs, which we did run 150s and 200s here because we couldn't get the forward bite. Now you can get it, so you jack the back up, make it turn better.
Don't worry, Darrell. 2 more years, they'll be back working on the other end of the car again.
Oh, yeah. It's a never-ending battle. You get one end fixed, you work on the other end.
Jeff Burton, the singular Chevy, he's riding 14th right behind Sterling Marlin. In another pretty tightly packed group of cars single file, Mike Bliss and Greg Biffle fighting for position in front of them with Kyle Busch.
There's Kyle Busch in the 5 car. He hopes that Mike Bliss will open that door, and he did. And Sterling Marlin, right now they have Greg Biffle in the 16 trapped on the high side. He's trying to get back to the bottom of the racetrack before he loses more position.
And remember, yesterday in the truck race, there were 36 trucks in the race, and some fell out early. Today, you've got 43 cars out here. You're going to get more rubber. You're going to get more buildup, and that's going to cause that outside lane to be even worse today than it was like yesterday.
The Gibbs cars in tandem, Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart. Tony with a little look inside there at 114 laps complete.
Tony's just able to drive his car deep into the corner. It rotates. He's able to pick the throttle up early, and he looks like he may be a little better in turn 3 and 4 than Bobby Labonte in the 18. They look pretty equal. You see right there, he's able to turn the car down, but Bobby shuts the door on him on the exit of the corner.
The most grip around this racetrack right now is right against that curve.
Lead change. Bobby Labonte moves aside for his teammate, and Tony Stewart puts the Home Depot Chevy out front.
Smart racing. It's too early to hold him up.
Matt?
The Gibbs car's running 1-2, and during the final practice session, Mike, Greg Zipadelli noted to Tony Stewart that their car was very strong as the tires worn on. And you know, a lot of people were getting lost in information during final practice because so many teams were putting on fresh tires and almost taking the driver out, losing confidence, thinking their package wasn't quite as good. But Tony was very strong on long runs. In fact, under the last caution, he said, "Hey, where's Mini-Me?" Meaning his teammate Jason Leffler, the 3rd Gibbs car. He's climbed his way back into the top 20, running in the 17th position. He was a little tight on throttle up off the corner. Steve?
Well, Matt, Kevin Harvick has just gone from 4th to 6th. He told his crew he's working hard to save his brakes, but the problem he has right now, the front end of that car is starting to plow, as he calls it.
And again, one of the things that we noticed over there running the trucks was if you didn't have that 7 degrees of camber in the right front, the front end chattered. And to get the thing to stop doing that, you kept adding camber, but it put a lot of abuse on the right front tire.
But it will make that car turn a lot better the more you can lean that wheel in. But right now, I think what's happening is we're about 60 or 70 laps into this run when most of these cars did not hit that last caution. And the more you run, the more rubber gets on the racetrack, the more that front end wants to chatter and wash up the racetrack.
And the more that the tire pressure builds up there. That's why we start them down as low as we possibly can and keep them on the wheel.
Scott Riggs with a big slide, lost 3 spots. He'd gotten a bump from Jeff Burton there. Bump and bang is just part of it.
Yeah, Scotty's been getting bumped around quite a lot.
But you know, right out in front of Scott Riggs in the 10 car, Matt Yoakum just talked about him, Jason Leffler in the 11 car. I think one of the things that he has going for him, he was one of those cars that pitted on that last caution. We talked about that at the beginning of the show. I just think fresh tires will prepare him here, especially as this racetrack really gets slick and hot.
Leffler's brought the FedEx car up to 15th, and he's working on Travis Waffle for 14th position.
You can just maneuver the car with those fresher tires.
When the leader crosses the stripe, will be at 1/4 distance. In the Advanced Auto Parts 500, Tony Stewart is the 4th different driver to lead this race today. Let's crank it up for you on this restart. Robbie Gordon, we're told, did not make a pit stop under that caution, and that points out the difference between worn and new tires as Tony Stewart and Bobby Labonte move past for 1st and 2nd.
No, that shows how desperate Robbie is just to do something positive. He'd have stayed out if he'd had 4 flat tires. He was going to lead a lap.
course, one reason you're trying to accumulate all the points you can, we've talked about that all season long. Robbie's trying to get in the top 35 in owner points, or he'll be locked into these shows. So every point's very valuable to him from that respect.
Turn 2, Blaney in trouble again, slides up the hill, and he's going to come back to pit road. He'll make it this time. He will not draw a caution flag. But that's the third time he's had unscheduled stops under green.
See, it looks like he keeps having right front tire problems. I'm not sure why, but they're having a lot of problem with that right front.
So Tony Stewart is back in the lead. Here's Matt.
Like a number of multi-car teams, Mike, the Gibbs guys can talk to each other. Under caution, Bobby Labonte flipped over to Tony Stewart's radio and said, hey, by the way, when I fell in behind you, I realized what I needed to do. And Tony started laughing. No worries, bud. I'll just send you an invoice. But you can see these teams having a very good day, and it's showing on the racetrack and in the humor on the radio.
And yeah, Matt, their teammate you talked about it a while ago, Jason Leffler, he just moved into the 14th position, so a good run for him as well. He's the only Gibbs team that tested up here before this race.
Leffler running 14th. Just ahead of him is Kyle Busch, who is the highest placed rookie in this race right now. At 13th position, there's Tony the Tiger. And we listened in on Kyle Busch and team.
Hey, KB, just be patient with it in situations like that. If it takes you another lap to get by him, it takes another lap. I'm patient enough with him. I mean, I just roll through the center good. I pick up the gas. It's like they think I'm going to knock him in the wall or something. I don't know. I guess I ought to give him the half the straightaway. No, you're doing good there. You're doing good. Just give him a little room. It's cool.
Not sure who he was referring to, but, you know, traffic is always an issue here.
But when you've got as good a car as he has right now, Darrell, he's not in a danger of even remotely going close to a lap down. That's pretty good advice they're giving him.
I tell you, you gotta ride a little bit in this race. You can't race. You gotta ride a little bit.
Stewart underneath Michael Waltrip, who is already 9 laps down after contact.
And Mike, you'll see a lot of drivers limping tomorrow because you use your left foot here braking, and 500 laps here, 2,000 times pushing on that brake pedal, your leg will hurt tomorrow.
Tell you what, pretty good run for Casey Kane in that 9 car right there, because Dick, he started back in the 35th position. He's about to crack the top 10. Yeah, he's running an 11th spot right now, and it's been an interesting weekend for Casey Kane. The first practice, he was 30th. As you said, Larry, he qualified 35th, 7th in the second practice, and 2nd in happy hour. His crew chief, Tommy Baldwin, said that he just plain missed it on the spring combination when they unloaded the car. They tried a bunch of different things, and they hit on a setup that obviously works very well for him. And this on Casey Kane. It's his birthday today. He's 25. Steve.
Ricky Rudd is a 3-time winner here at Martinsville, most recently in 1998. Now, he started 13th all the way up into the 6th position. He pitted after that most recent caution. Tell you what, he's so good here, no adjustment to that number 21 of Ricky Rudd.
Ricky Rudd has won here 3 times for 3 different owners, Richard Childress, Bud Moore, and for his own team.
His pit crew had a heck of a pit stop on that last caution. They definitely picked up some positions on pit road.
32 tied car to pit road. I'm not sure what his problem is.
Bobby Hamilton Jr. running back at about the 28th, 29th position. Unscheduled stop for him.
And speaking of birthdays, if I don't wish my sister Carolyn a happy birthday today, I'll be in big trouble.
Well, you're out of the doghouse now. How about Mark Martin, who has a self-proclaimed dislike for Martinsville, but is running extremely well here, and right now sits in 7th.
Just nice and solid, good on these long runs.
Dick, what happened to Bobby Hamilton Jr.?
Oh, the engine's running hot, Mike. They pulled all the tape off the grill area of the car, hoping that's going to bring the water temperature down. But they've also got the water lines here ready to bring it back in again and run some cold water into that engine if this doesn't work. Hamilton has been told, watch the gauge, don't lose the engine.
I don't know, Larry. Cold water into a hot engine, usually that's not a great solution.
But if that thing has started spitting water out, it's about the only choice they have. But, Darrell, I know these crew chiefs. I did it. Jeff Hammond did it. You get lured into putting that tape on the nose to make these things turn. But I think you get this deep into the race, these type of ambient temperatures, it will get you in trouble. As we saw Jeff Gordon almost get in trouble earlier. Now Bobby Hamilton Jr.
I'd take that tape away from the crew chief on Sunday morning.
See Jeremy Mayfield here running up in the 4th position. He's been in the top 5 ever since the drop of the green flag. We talked about his teammate, Casey Kane. Darrell, I like what Ray Evernham has done here with these 2 race cars. They are now both running in-house Evernham chassis, but Ray did a lot of testing with that chassis, especially with Bill Elliott, before he put it under his 2 cars that are running all the races.
Well, it must be paying off because those laps that Jeremy led early, those are the first laps he's ever led at Martinsville in 20 races.
Matt?
Brand new race car, logged a lot of laps during testing out at the Phoenix International Raceway. Now Jeremy running in the 4th position. No changes on his stop previous, but in the last stop he made an air and wedge adjustment. The car fading a bit. He has about a 2-second lead over Kurt Busch, who's in the 5th position. Now Busch, they made significant adjustments on the last stop. He's fighting tight conditions as well. A lot of guys battling grip issues as we are logging a lot of laps, and that rubber continues to build up here at Martinsville.
New 2nd place car, Rusty Wallace. Stuck under Bobby Labonte, and he's going after Tony Stewart.
That's how you know when a driver has a car that he's very happy with, very comfortable with. Bobby pulled over, said, Rusty, you're faster than I am. They get lap times from the teams, and I'm going to let you go, dude.
But, Darrell, we're watching Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 catch Bobby Labonte. I think what Jeremy has done, besides those adjustments on his race car that we were talking about, he's moved up the racetrack. He's moved up about a lane, and he's running those guys down. He's adjusting what he's doing.
One thing you have to do, once those buildups get on the racetrack, you've got to straddle them. If you can't go below them, you got to go across them.
He got him. Mayfield up for 3rd. So now instead of 2 Gibbs Chevys leading the 2 Dodges, now it's Dodge, the meat and the sandwich between those 2 Monte Carlos. Watch this side-by-side battle. Harvick and Leffler for 11th. But up front, it's about to get real busy once again. The big moving conveyor belt has brought Tony Stewart right up to a group of good cars. Jeff Green is just ahead. Jimmy Johnson ahead of him. Joe Nemechek, who Jeannie told us has a vibration. Brian Vickers, Elliott Sadler. It's going to get real busy for Tony. He's going to have to be really careful, Darrell, to pick his way through here.
Yeah, and what that's doing is it's allowing some of these cars back here, like Ricky Rudd. I've been watching him, and that 21 car today is looking really, really good. I like the way it's handling. He's made some good passes, got around Kurt Busch, and he's closing down on the back end of Bobby Labonte right now. That 21 car looks racy today.
And Darrell, he's a lot like Bobby Labonte. He's had a good race car several races this year, but he's been caught up in other people's problems, been caught up in wrecks, as at Bristol.
Well, I tell you what, when he won a race here, I forget what year it was, he had his own car. He was driving a Tide car. He got out of that car. He was exhausted. He was burned up, but he won this race.
And his crew chief is Michael Fatback McSwain. He's chasing down Bobby Labonte. The last time Bobby Labonte went to victory lane here at Martinsville, Michael Fatback McSwain was his crew chief then on the 18 car.
And you don't think Fatback remembers that, do you?
I would say probably so.
I think he's probably
It's not the last time Bobby Labonte won a race, but it's the last time that he won at Martinsville.
Tony Stewart inside of Jimmy Johnson to knock Johnson off the lead lap once again. So how about our points leader, Steve?
Yeah, Mike, they're having a rough day of it. Jimmy Johnson just told crew chief Chad Canals the front end of these front tires are chattering when I go through the corners.
It's been a long time since we've seen that 48 car lap twice in a race before the halfway point. Of course, he got the free pass back on the lead lap. Now he's another lap down.
Johnson working off a long string of consecutive top 10 finishes. And that's very much in jeopardy here. 11 straight top 10 runs for Jimmy.
Yeah, and the thing that's surprising, Larry, is he won the race here on this surface. It's not like the surface took him by surprise. They won the race here last fall. They should have the right setup.
I know it's been very confusing to them.
Rusty Wallace led a good bit of this race early, as did Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. They now run 2nd and 3rd. Bobby Labonte, the interstate number 18. the green car. Labonte's also led 22 laps here today. Ricky Rudd pressuring Labonte off turn 2. Nothing there for 4th place.
Bobby will let him go. I'm thinking he'll move up down here and let him go because he knows that Ricky's a good bit faster than he is.
Right behind this group, you see the 97 car, Kurt Busch, our current Nextel Cup champion, back in the 6th position, has a win here. Before the race, we heard him tell his crew, we just have to be patient, no mistakes, and we'll just let this race wind down a little bit and see where we're at the end.
Like where he is. I mean, nobody right behind him, nobody right in front of him. Just kind of right in a nice little safe spot.
Well, behind him, the leader of the Roush-Coutiers, Mark Martin, or the senior member of the Roush-Coutiers, we should say. In the Viper number 6, right behind Kurt Busch. And Casey Kane in 8th place.
Mark is the inspiration for that whole operation. I mean, he brings so much to a race team.
Talk about experience. Right behind Casey Kane, the 9 car will be Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. He's moved up into the 9th position. So other than Casey Kane, I'm seeing a lot of experience up there in the top 8 or 9.
Got to be able to saw. Oh, 16's around. He's got a flat right rear tire.
In the Brian Vickers, the 25. And that was right in front of Ricky Rudd, the 21 car. The caution is out.
Vickers, a victim of what happened there, and it just rent all the right side sheet metal from his car. And the Jackson Hewitt car is headed for an audit.
Yeah, he had the right rear tire down as he tried to get off turn 4 there, and the thing spun with him. He tried to gas it up and keep it going, and he backed right into the 25.
And just remember, Greg Biffle came in here 2nd in points, only 94 points behind Jimmy Johnson, who we've been watching, is having a terrible day. This was a good opportunity for Greg Biffle to make some of these points up.
Well, I think Biffle's damage is pretty much salvageable. Most of it looked like it's behind the rear tires.
Watch the 16.
See Biffle, he's up on the outside and the right rear tire's down. He comes around, hadn't hit anything yet, scrapes the nose, but then it goes backwards right into the 25. He doesn't have any place to go, and look at Bobby Labonte.
18 car just barely gets by.
Green flag.
The 24 car, keep you on him. He keeps, he's got 2 laps back. Only got to work his way around a few cars here. He'll get another one. He'll be back in this race.
Tony Stewart got a great restart. He used the 43 car, Jeff Green, who's a lap down a pick, but now Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car, he clears Jeff Green. He's up there running in 2nd position.
Darrell Rusty's got one of the fastest cars here. What does he have to concentrate on now? He's at the tail end of the line.
He's got to wait on his pit crew now and then let them pick him back up and get him back up there, because if you try to do it with all car, you'll use up all car.
Matt Kenseth stayed out. He was toward the back of the lead lap, but he stayed out on track, did not pit first time by, so he picked up 5 points for leading a lap under caution. He was the 6th different leader today.
These guys have all done the math from last year. They know 5 points is huge. Bonus points are huge. Get them when you can.
So it's Stewart and Mayfield to settle out the middle portion of this race. Chevy versus Dodge.
I know we got this battle up there for 1st and 2nd, but I've been watching this battle back there about the 5th and 6th car in line. Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton in the 31, Casey Mears in the 41. These guys are fighting to become the first car a lap down, where if we get the caution, they can get back on the lead lap.
I don't like giving laps back, but it does create a race within a race. If you got good cars a lap down, they are racing like crazy to try to be the first one to be a lap down.
It's a race for the lead on the left-hand side of your screen. This is a race to try to get back on the lead lap on the right-hand side between Jeff Gordon in the 24, Jeff Burton in the 31.
You can see Gordo in there. He's working that wheel. He's trying as hard as he can.
Darrell, and I think one big benefit of the free pass rule is on restarts, it prevents the driver a lap down from being compelled to rough up the leader, because he's got another chance and another way to get that lap back.
I somewhat agree with you if he's a smart driver.
Kevin Harvick is the 3rd Richard Childress car to have some trouble today. Steve?
He's got several problems, Mike Joy. This is the inner edge of his right front tire that just came off of his race car. He's also having clutch issues similar to the problems his teammate Dave Blaney had last weekend at Bristol.
We were talking about 7 degrees of camber, and what that does is Right here on this part of the tire, that's what the thing is riding on, and that's what makes it cut. It gets on that edge of that tire and just turns the car.
And then, of course, it's running on that edge down these straightaways as well when you have it leading in that far.
And that creates heat. You got brake heat, and you got camber heat here, and that's what gives you tire problems. We used to blow the beads of the tires out here. They'd get so hot, the wheel would, and it would blow the tire off the wheel.
You know, a car that was just about to go a lap down in the early part of the race, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he is now in the 11th position, knocking on the door of the top 10. So I definitely think the first couple of pit stops, Pete Rondeau and that group, the Budweiser group, made the right adjustments on this car, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is doing exactly what he did at Bristol. Matt, he's being patient.
Absolutely, Larry Mack. He just fell from 10th to 11th, but about 15 laps before the last caution, Greg Biffle's spotter said the 8 car of Dale Jr. has gone to the higher side, moved up half of a lane, and he seems to really have picked up on the stopwatch. And then under this past caution, Pete Rondeau said to Jr., how's the car? He says the car is pretty decent right now. He says, you know, moving up like you did, you have really helped your ties. So while the reason I'm moving up, going into the corners and gone up a lane and a half or a lane or so is because my foot, my left foot, my brake foot is really bothering me. So to not use as much pressure on the brakes, he's changing his line into the corners.
You know, in all this talk about, you know, Dale Jr. and Michael changing things around, one thing I talked to Dale Jr. yesterday, he likes his team. He likes Pete. They get along good. He believes in them. They believe in him. That's going to pay off as we go along the way here.
More short track points than anybody last season for Dale Jr.
Guys, watching one of the guys that's on the move right now is Mike Bliss, and he talked about Dale Jr. He's running 11th, but Mike Bliss is the one that kicked him back to 11th. He literally drove by Dale Jr. on the outside. His car is really working good. He's really being very aggressive getting down in these corners. The only thing I'm worried about, it looks to me like he's using an awful lot of brake. You can't use that much brake this early in the race, otherwise you're going to be out by the end of the day. But his car is looking pretty strong so far.
Oh, Jeff, I mean, you know, you can run faster driving it down in the corner using that brake, but you may pay the price in those final 100 laps when you're out of brakes.
Got us a good little race for the lead here, boys. That old 19 car looks like she's wanting to eat. It looks kind of like it did at Richmond last fall. And there he goes.
Let's move to the inside of Tony Stewart in the 20 car. He'll take the lead back. But again, we were talking about him earlier. He had started to work that high side just a little bit, just like Dale Earnhardt Jr. was.
Well, in this race, you got 43 cars out there. You've got to get that outside groove working, or you'll never get around anybody.
Our pole sitter, Scott Riggs, after that bump with Ryan Newman on the first lap of the race, he has not led today. But Jeannie, he stays on the lead lap, just about a third of a lap back.
Junior just got a bunch of smoke going out. Sorry, Jeannie.
Hanging on there, and if it's not one thing, it's another for Mr. Riggs today. The car needed more forward bite, so he started to pump the brakes, and then he realized that makes the rears lock up. So he came on the scanner and he said, look, does it look like I'm charging into the corner too hard? He's just looking for help from above, because he said, I cannot do anything about the brakes now.
Thanks, Jeannie. He's holding on Kenny Schrader right now, back at 20th position. They're about half a lap behind the leaders.
Larry, we think we know where that smoke on the 8 car came from. Looked like he and the 12 car maybe made some contact. The 12 came up under Junior in a hurry.
Yeah, I think what happened is Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 0 car were racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. had to check up Ryan Newman, and the 12 made a move to the inside, and they got to each other.
Oh, that's not serious, but that won't last long, will it, Matt?
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. just came on the race, and I'm going to have a flat tire in less than 2 laps. It is really smoking badly. Pete Rondeau just told him, bring in next time by, unscheduled stop for Dale Earnhardt Jr. We are at lap 208.
Now, see, a driver will know that. He knows how hard he's turning the wheel and that thing hanging up in the fender. That's why he can almost predict, I'm going to blow that tire out.
And, Darrell, when it seems to be rubbing the most is if you notice going off in the corner when he rolls out of the throttle and jumps on the brake pedal, that's when the nose really dives. You see it right there, and that's when it's really rubbing.
Here's where that happened. I think the 12 car's looking down underneath it. And he ran into the back of it. Well, there's the 12.
He actually ran into the back of the 0. I knew the 12 car was there, but he actually got in the back of Mike Bliss in the 0 car.
Jeremy Mayfield, your leader. Tony Stewart running second. Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte, and Mark Martin. Dale Earnhardt Jr., you said on the pre-race show, Jeff Hammond, as you look at Tony Stewart.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of pressure right now, trying to get inside of Jeremy Mayfield right now, trying to take that lead from him. But Jeremy's really strong up off the corner.
Talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. needing a strong run today. He has run well in short tracks, but having more problems.
Yeah, he got into the zero car just a little while ago, and he still got that left front fender rubbing, and he's starting to drop back, and he's really having trouble right now. As you take a look, there's Rusty Wallace going underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr. That left front fender continues to rub. Now, he got put in the back of the field because he was speeding, exited pit road on our last caution. And again, we see this. Tony Stewart continues to pressure Jeremy Mayfield for the lead. And
talking about back in the field, Jeff Gordon at 1 point, 3 laps down, now currently running 26th and only a lap down.
Only a lap down right now. He's got a really strong race car, and he's really hoping to catch a caution right now, which will put him back on the lead lap. And he has really, been very strong all day, very patient. Great job by Robbie Loomis and his entire DuPont team to keep him up there in contention.
For more on Dale Earnhardt Jr., let's check in with Matt Yoakum.
The 2-car Rusty Wallace has already passed Junior. Now, Junior told Pete Rondeau, his crew chief, the car is freer on entry and freer off. Whatever you did, it has really gotten loose now. Rondeau and Steve Neal told him that it's not smoking as badly down in 1 and 2 when he's not using as much brake. Tony Uri Sr., team manager DEI, said it's just barely rubbing on the shoulder down in 3 and 4, Mike.
So Junior stays out on track, though he's fallen to 16th, and we've had a lead change. Tony Stewart finally got back in front of Jeremy Mayfield, and let's see if he can put any distance on the Dodge now.
For whatever reason, Jeremy was hanging right around the bottom, right against the curve. All of a sudden, his car shot up the racetrack a little bit. All of a sudden, he had his car running high. That opened the door for Tony to get by on the inside, and he took advantage of it.
We've hit the halfway point here at Martinsville moments ago. Jamie McMurray in the 42 car with some tire problems.
Yeah, he had a flat tire on the right front, had to come to pit road, and it's cost him dearly. Not only is he wound up having to go to pit road, he's also 3 laps down right now.
Ricky Rudd having an excellent run here in the 21 car as we see Ken Schrader having some problems.
Ken Schrader looks like he may have a flat tire right now. He is looking like he might need a caution flag as he crosses the start-finish line. He's going to limp his way back around the pit road, and everybody's trying to avoid him.
Sterling Marlin goes by, and Schrader.
Yeah, he's definitely got a flat right front tire right now. He's limping around trying to get him a hole to get down in there. We'll wait and see if he's going to get a caution or not. Otherwise, he's got to the inside, so he should be able to make it to pit road.
I tell you one thing, that's huge because Tony Stewart is putting a Kyle Petty a lap down just ahead of him. It's Ryan. It's the Harvick car. And you heard it right there. The tire just basically flattened.
Get me down, Tom. Get me down.
But he is very lucky he didn't hit that wall.
No, we got another car in the wall. 01. He's going to. I don't think he can keep going. There's the yellow.
And that's the caution flag.
I think we're right at that window. We've got about 75 laps on these tires, and I think we may be seeing some tire issues.
8th caution flag of the day. You heard Schrader calling his spotter, get me down. In other words, get me a clear path to the inside so I can pit.
That caution came about 2 laps too late for Jeff Gordon in the 24 because Tony Stewart in the 20 had just put Kyle Petty a lap down, so Kyle will actually get the free pass.
Yeah, but the guys that are really sigh of relief is Kevin Harvick and Dale Jarrett, Dale Jr. A bunch of guys were about to go a lap down.
Joe Nemechek brushes the wall after cutting down a right front tire and putting us under caution for the 8th time.
That's the same place Kenny Schrader had the problem.
Boy, if he did hit the wall, it wasn't much.
I think that was just dust and dirt that was flying up stage right because I don't think he really hit the wall.
And Darrell, we're just seeing so many tire problems. I think a lot of it comes from, yeah, maybe some brake heat, but I think you've been talking about it the entire broadcast, the aggressive setup, especially negative camber in that right front.
Tell you how good this car is for Ricky Rudd. No adjustments to that number 21. Just 4 tires and gas for Rudd. Dick.
Mark Martin pits out of the 6th position, and once again, no significant changes to this automobile. 1/4 pound of air pressure in the right rear, that's it. It handed Mark a drink. No other changes. To Matt.
The 20 is Stewart, the 19 of Mayfield hit their pit boxes at almost the exact same time. Work going on the left side of Stewart. He's down and away. He said the car had gotten tighter in the center, but it was great on forward bite. Air pressure adjusted. Meanwhile, air pressure down for the 19 as well. He was tight, Jeannie.
The 18 of Bobby Labonte saying he's spinning his tires when he gets into the gas off the corner, but he has got his groove back on the bottom. That's helping. Just a track bar adjustment, guys.
Oh, trouble continues for Kevin Harvick. Last week's winner trying to get pushed to restart.
Remember, Mike, he has clutch problems, and of course this is when you'll experience the problems, is when you have to make a pit stop. He needed a caution because he's about to go a lap down, but it kills him as he makes a pit stop trying to leave pit road.
Yeah, you can shift these things once you get rolling without the clutch, but you can't take off without the clutch. You got to put it in gear and use the starter. You hear him? He's using the starter to keep it moving. It'll take off, hopefully. Where's my teammate? It's when you need your teammate to come down pit road and give you a little push.
Well, his teammate Jeff Burton pitted, but then pulled around, back in line, back out on the racetrack. This restart will happen with Harvick in the pits, last week's winner. Tony Stewart, Jeremy Mayfield again. Now they have Kurt Busch in third, Bobby Labonte in fourth, Mark Martin in fifth, Ricky Rudd is sixth, Casey Kane is seventh, Mike Bliss eighth, Ryan Newman, Rusty Wallace your top 10. 17 cars on the lead lap. Kyle Petty the last of those as we're back under green.
I believe Kevin Harvick's problems have grown. We're here maybe possibly a broken gear, and they're going behind the wall, so that would be 4 of the top 6 in points coming into this race that's had problems today.
The 2 that have not, Tony Stewart and, well, Elliott Sadler we haven't talked much about. And that's a good thing at this stage in the race.
Yes, it is. We're just past the halfway point.
That was always what I tried to do when I come here. Run about 300 laps, never mention my name. But then in the last couple of hundred, like, where'd he come from?
Again, Jamie McMurray in the 42 car had the tire problem a while ago. Now, he is not a lead lap car. He is actually in 30th position, 3 laps down, trying to get one of those positions back. But there, right behind this group, you see that 24 car, Jeff Gordon. Remember, had the problem earlier with the loose wheel. He's now 1 lap down. Should we get a caution, he would be the free pass car. Almost got it a while ago.
And doesn't it seem like every driver who wins a race on the circuit this year, trouble follows him from victory lane on to the next week or two? Happened to Carl Edwards, happened to Jeff Gordon. It's happened to Greg Biffle. Now it's happened to Kevin Harvick.
It's the luck bank. You got to put some back in before you can pull some out.
We do need to mention Carl Edwards, the 99 car. He's back out on the racetrack 176 laps down after major repairs. There you see him right there. Came in here 4th in points. Been a rough go since that win at Atlanta about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, Darrell, at this place, you don't want to lead with your radiator.
No, that's ugly. That's really ugly. I love modified racing here, and it's going to be back here this year. But I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be out there in Carl's car right now. You know, it's really hot this afternoon. I'm not sure exactly how hot, probably about 80 degrees. But inside those race cars, with all the brake heat and everything else, these drivers are getting their first really taste of hot summertime weather.
Kevin Harvick behind the wall. Brian Vickers limping around the racetrack now. Here's Matt.
DW, and during the pass caution, that's exactly what Jeremy Mayfield was telling Slugger Labby. The air conditioning unit inside the car not working properly. They will send it out before Texas, but that's all they can do. Before then, nothing to help the driver. They handed him a nutrition bar under the last pit stop. He says he's just cool, just riding along, logging laps, and letting the 20 of Stewart lead the way.
And Darrell, you know, you didn't have cool boxes when you were winning races here back in the 80s and 90s. But the thing about it, you wore an open face helmet. The cockpit of the car was much more open, a lot more air flowing in that race car.
Yeah, these cars are so aerodynamically tight, even on the shorter racetracks. Remember, Larry, NASCAR used to let us cut the fender openings as big as we want them to. We could let air blow in through the fenders and blow in through the big window openings that we had. These guys are sitting on this hot stove right here, baby, I'm telling you.
But I like Mayfield's strategy. He's letting Tony Stewart do the heavy lifting. And when they come around to race traffic, Tony will make the hole. Jeremy can follow him through. I'd say he's in the catbird seat.
I like what Jeremy's doing. That's smart racing.
Jeff?
Got it. The last time I watched the 21 car as well as the 6 car come down pit road, what I noticed, look when they come in, all of a sudden, look at there, on the left front, they're blowing the brake dust away from the left front tire, so when the tire changer comes around and hits that air wrench, it doesn't blow back in his face to try to make a faster pit stop. Again, same thing on the 21 car of Ricky Rudd. They're blowing that brake dust, which is always bad for a tire changer to come around, and he jerks it back out of the way in the last second. So when he hits that air wrench, it doesn't blow back in his face and make it where he can't see all 5 nuts.
Today's brake pads, they're designed to wear under 500 laps here, but they give off so much dust. That's the problem.
But I'm going to tell you, as a crew chief, a lot of times I would tell my driver, look, I'm seeing too much brake dust coming off those wheels.
Turn one.
You're using way too much brakes.
Marlin spins off the bumper of Elliott Sadler, but that happened because Rusty Wallace got in the back of Ryan Newman going into turn 1, 4 or 5 cars in front of them.
And guess who really benefits from that caution? Jeff Gordon, the 24 car. He will be back on the lead lap now, and we have over 200 laps to go.
That's what you call chain. And I won't say the rest of it.
You know the rest.
Stewart, Mayfield, Busch, Labonte, Martin, and Rudd. Kenny Schrader will try to get a lap back on the inside as we go green.
And since it's only been 15 laps since that last caution, the 6 or 7 cars at the back of the lead lap cars make pit stops. 4 tires, including Jeff Gordon in the 24 that's now back on the lead lap.
We just week in and week out have gearbox trouble, shifter trouble, and it's because they moved the shifters up on top of these transmissions, and there are just issues there that I think haven't been worked out yet.
Transmission issues and tire issues. That's been the tale of 2005.
Yep. Hammer knows what I'm talking about.
Turn 2, Dale Jr. spins.
Whoops.
No caution.
Better get that bad boy fired up here, June.
And caution waves now. And I did not see any contact. It looked like Dale had trouble getting the power down between turns 1 and 2, Matt.
A lot of conversation, Mike, under the caution. Junior felt he might have a right rear tire going down. Steve Meal looked at it from the spotter stand, said it didn't look down to him, but it's Junior's call. Junior decided to stay out.
Let's have a look at it here, Darrell.
It's down. I saw it when he went by. He's here all by himself up out of the groove. Of course, he's going to pick up a lot of rubber and dirt. But I think as he went by, right after this, I think that right rear tire could be down.
Poor Brian Vickers in the 25 was almost a victim again.
These tires, yeah, you see that tire, how soft it is? They don't have a lot of air in them, but that doesn't have quite enough.
I said Kenny Schrader was trying to get a lap back. He was 3 laps down on that restart. And just before the restart.
Yeah, it's just...
He knew he was in trouble.
It's lucky, very lucky.
287 laps complete, 212 to go when they cross the stripe. Tony Stewart,
Terrible restart. That all started right at the front.
And somehow, some way, we did not end up with a car that was spun out on that restart. I don't know how.
No, but I bet you we're going to have some guys that's going to have some real problems.
You're going to see steam here coming out from under either the hood or the helmets.
This came way down here, and that started right at the front, and it just bottlenecked up.
But Darrell, I also remember a lot of these cars stayed out on those hot tires, and you know what'll happen on a restart. You'll spin those tires when they've got that rubber buildup on them.
Bam, there's a 97, the 18, the 6. I mean, they had hard contact.
The accordion effect once again. Nobody spun, nobody stopped. We stay under green.
Spotter says go, and then he says whoa, and it's hard to do both at one time.
Meanwhile, after this restart, Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he has stretched it out by almost a second over second place Jeremy Mayfield in the 19. Now, the orange car right there that Kurt Busch in the 97 car is taking a peek on, that's Jeff Burton. He's 2 laps down, had that flat tire about 100 laps ago.
And do you notice who is easing his way into the picture here? That little 97 car. Hadn't heard hardly anything out of him all day long. And here we are with how many laps to go?
200.
Where'd he come from?
Driving your kind of race, Joe.
I think they somewhat surprised themselves with that qualifying run. Top 10, qualified 9th on Friday, and they felt like they'd have a good race car, but they were concerned about qualifying before the session.
Another driver who's sneaking back into contention as Bobby Labonte looks to make the move on Jeff Burton, the lap car, is Jeff Gordon. Gordon lost a lap on lap 47. Took him 230 laps to get that lap back. He's on the lead, lap 16th, battling Sterling Marlin, trying to move. And again, sneaking back up on him.
Oh, yeah, he's got a good car, and just based on what he's done, you know, these first 250, 300 laps, he'll be up there before it's over with.
Plenty of time. Jimmy Johnson, the 48 car, our points leader. Now, he's in the top 20, but he is 1 lap down. That car just not driving very good, the 48 Lowe's car.
What I like about Gordon's car is you know, the drivers talk about it turning. His car rotates. It almost looks like it rolls over and then takes off. Then he can gas it and go.
He's been trying for a couple of laps to get Sterling Marlin without much success as they work underneath Casey Mears.
Well, now's when he knows, Mike, he's got to be kind of careful. He's back on the lead lap. He's got his shot. He knows he does. Don't tear it up, because look at that car. She's clean as she can be.
You see our pole sitter right there, Scott Riggs, in the 10 car right now. He's in 24th, 1 lap down. We were getting a report that he actually was having some boat problems. Jeannie, maybe the battery's starting to go down on that car.
Well, we're sharing some pictures with you here of a powwow. Some trouble a handful of laps ago when they were talking about the voltmeter, that it was slipping. Brain Trust over here saying, you know, maybe it's the engine, maybe it's an alternator problem. He came in and he pitted, and they decided that a piece of rubber may have gotten into the engine and burnt up a plug wire. So what they've decided pretty much is that it has to be changed. They're trying to figure out the quickest way to do it.
Well, it's not unusual to have battery problems at this racetrack, because you've got brake blowers that you don't run in most any place else. Big, huge brake blowers. They're bilge motors that come out of a boat. And you got that on the both front tires. You got a blower for the driver. You got a blower for the rear end. There's a lot going on inside that race car.
More demand here on the electrical system than any other racetrack we go to.
Jeff Gordon moves up another notch. He has 5 victories here at Martinsville, and even from a lap down is always a threat. Let's get the word on his youngest Hendrick Motorsports teammate. Here's Steve.
Mike, 19-year-old Kyle Busch has been having a nice day. He's been riding around the top 10 all afternoon, but now he's concerned that he may have knocked a hole in the radiator. They just had Dale Jarrett drive by and look to see if he could see any fluid leaking. They are concerned about a possible hole in the radiator and therefore a lack of water pressure.
Up on that restart, I believe that's what's taken Kyle Busch to the garage area where they are under the hood. They've got radiator trouble. There you see a crewman with the new radiator ready to go in to get him back out there.
And the reason we're seeing so many radiator problems is, trust me, in my hot spot, I talked about it. These noses are so low on these cars that when they run into the back of somebody, it goes straight to the grill. You can't put enough bars up there to protect it.
Tony Stewart out in front of Jeremy Mayfield by 1.2 seconds. We want to show you just how long these straightaways
are. Trouble. Turn 2. The round goes to 43.
Jeff Green, another spin and grab a gear and go.
I'm not real sure what happened there, but I bet the tape will show the tail.
Caution is out, and that'll be a big break for Jimmy Johnson, our points leader in the 48 car. He'll get the free pass. He'll be back on the lead lap.
He got hamburger helped there, I think. It's too lousy a fun. We'll think of a better one. But that's the second time today that Jeff Green has had a spin and go.
Oh, just keep your eye on that 43 car. You'll see what the problem was. Just hang on here a second. Keep watching.
He's looking for that yellow car, perhaps. No.
Hello, buddy. You want to meet back in Owensboro? Maybe we'll get some barbecue when we get home.
Car. We're back under green with 331 laps complete in the Advanced Auto Parts 500. Tony Stewart, Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin, Ricky Rudd. The top 5. Elliott Sadler 6th with Jason Leffler, Sterling Marlin, Casey Kane, and Jeff Gordon are now the top 10. 5th place battle, Rudd, Sadler.
And just notice, watch Rudd. He is not going to get up off the bottom if at all possible. He's trying everything he can just to stay on the bottom.
And with them, the 11th, Jason Leffler, trying for his 2nd career top 10 finish, Matt.
Back on lap 300, he moved into 10th, and he slowly worked his way up the scoring pylon. Now running the left position. They've been trying to work a tightness out of the car all day on the last stop. Dave Rogers, his rookie crew chief, made a track bar and air pressure adjustment. But Larry Mack, you know, as a crew chief, this is the run you need for a team that had struggled this year, not of their own doing, caught up in other people's mistakes, but they paid the price for it themselves in the points. This is the kind of momentum-building run they can really use to build on as we start to hit some other racetracks where Jason runs extremely well.
Yeah, I mean, they felt like they had a good car in Bristol last week, Matt, and never even got a chance to even get the oil warm. He was involved in an early race crash. Remember, this team had to nail bite those first few races. It was see Casey Kane in the 9 go by Elliott Sadler because they had to qualify for every event. And when I look at Ricky Rudd right now in that 21 up there running in 5th, remember, he fell out of the top 35 in points after Bristol, had to qualify for that race. So this run here could get him back in the top 35 as we head to Texas next week.
Oh, there's a car right there just behind that 9 car that just keeps creeping closer to the front.
Jeff Gordon has run 24 previous races here at Martinsville. He has never come to the end of a 500 lapper here in the garage. He's finished every one, and he's won 5 of them.
We talked about that at the beginning of the show, is you have to be there at the end. You have to take care of things and have no mistakes. Remember, this team had a mistake early in the race. They had a wheel that was either left loose or came loose, and now he's fought his way back into the top 10.
Dale Jarrett back at 14th now, chasing Mike Bliss in the UPS Ford. 5th at Bristol, and a lead lap contender here all day.
And they basically did exactly what they did at Bristol. Qualified back in the 32nd position on Friday. He just stayed clean. Look at that car, not a mark on it. He knows what you have to do to win this race or have a good finish, and that's stay clean.
Mayfield fighting his way back forward after that penalty. Mayfield restarted 19th in the number 19. He's climbed 4 positions, and now he gets into the tough traffic.
Yeah, and he's doing a really good job. And one thing I noticed about his car, it can go high or low. He can run the bottom if he needs to, and he can also move it up to the top. And you just saw the 9 get a little sideways there, and that opened the door for Jeff Gordon to come through.
He went to the top, but I think he got a little help with them moved up to the top. Now, again, that's a battle for 7th position.
And Larry, was verified earlier that those wheels on Jeff Gordon's car were torqued in pre-race this morning. So the problem was otherwise it was not loose lug nuts.
Well, and I tend to agree with what Jeff and Darrell were talking about. We run spacers between the rotor hat and the wheel to widen the tread width out. And I think sometimes you can get too many wheel spacers on there, and they give a little bit or yield just a little bit, and the wheel will loosen it up.
Mayfield around Dale Jarrett.
The 19 car, Mayfield gets a good bite off the corner up high, which most of these guys can't do. Now you see he goes to the bottom there to get around Scott Riggs. Car's working really good for him, kind of anywhere he wants to go.
But just ahead of him, Dick Berggren, the 0 of Mike Bliss, is also working pretty well.
Mike Bliss has had the best race he has had anywhere all year long, Mike. Right now he's in 13th spot, but for most of the day, he has run in 7th through 10th position. Crew Chief Booty Barker this morning made some chassis adjustments, stiffened up that car a little bit because the driver said he had a little bit too much body roll. Since then, the car has been just a little bit tight all day, but the crew has been good. Bliss has driven well. They're having a wonderful time here at Martinsville.
And a lot like Dale Jarrett's car, right now with 55 laps to go, hardly not a mark on that race car.
And it just continues to amaze me how much rear spring they can put in these cars. And everywhere they go now. I mean, you're talking about a 500-pound right rear spring at Martinsville. Now, like I said, 250 used to be normal.
Some places we have, Darrell, comers and goers. Here we have movers and shakers. Rusty Wallace moved too fast down pit road. He got penalized to the back of the pack, but he's been shaking things up after leading 47 laps early in this race. He's now just climbed back into the top 10.
Now, he's still got a good race car. I've been watching him, and he gets him set up pretty good. He's working good on the bottom. Got the 7 car up against the wall here. Robbie Gordon off of turn 4, but I think he's okay. I think he just got out of the groove and got in the loose stuff. Well, now it's when Gordon's got to be really careful. These are all good cars. They're not going to give up easily.
But most of these are for position. Jason Leffler in the 11 car right now, he's in the 6th position. Jeff Gordon in the 7th position. And then you still see Casey Kane in the 9 car still on the lead lap just in front there, just behind Jeff Gordon.
And you have a little problem here. It takes a long time to recover. It took Jeff Gordon 150 laps to get back on the lead lap as he battles Leffler for 6th. After Wallace had that penalty, took him 150 laps to get back into the top 10.
The question is, will Jeremy Mayfield have enough time, one of the better cars here today in the 19, will he have enough time to overcome that speeding penalty?
How many laps are left? 150.
Time will tell.
Plenty.
Leads Kurt Busch by 1 second in the Advance Auto Parts 500.
How about Jimmy Johnson, one of the young guns? Steve Burns, the latest, Steve.
And Chris, you remember, he started way back in 37th as he pulls up alongside Jason Leffler in the 11 and makes the pass, at least for the time being, for the 12th position. He just told crew chief Chad Canals, the car's tightened up a little bit for me. Chad saying, nice and easy, Jimmy, nice and easy. Let's save it for the end. So all things considered, they have a good day coming all the way from 37.
Kurt Busch at age 26 has run a real smart race, Jeff Hammond.
Yeah, he's run a real smart race, but so is this guy, Jimmy Johnson. And Steve Burns was talking about how his crew chiefs tell him to be careful, be smooth, but right now he just very easily slid up underneath the 12 car, Ryan Newman.
45.
He's making it look pretty easy right now, make his way up, and Kyle Petty has problems right there. He's spun around.
Let's rejoin Mike, Darrell, and Larry.
Well, that was so timely for a number of guys, not for Kyle, obviously, but a bunch of guys, good guys, getting ready to go a lap down here to the 20 car.
Yeah, both the Yates cars, Dale Jarrett in the 88, Elliott Sadler in the 38, real close. Travis Quaffle in the 77 as well.
And Kyle would have gotten the free pass, except he's the car that brought out the caution.
He's a right rear tire down again, and around he goes, and I got to believe more likely he's probably made contact with somebody in coming up through there. There he goes.
You can hear it pop. Yep.
Hold your brakes, hold your brakes.
The other driver with trouble, Greg Biffle, came in for an unscheduled pit stop. There was a fire in the right rear corner of the car, and they did get him back out on the racetrack. But who knows what damage underneath there.
Kyle's tire.
But I'm going to tell you what, boys, pit road will be open. We know all the leaders will be there. This is a stop. You need no mistakes, especially by that driver. No speeding coming in or speeding going off. You have to make those right adjustments on this pit stop. And Jason Leffler in 11 runs over it, as well as Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Well, I tell you what, running over something like that can be disastrous. It can knock the belts off the oil pump. It can do all kind of damage.
Steve.
Michael McQueen told Ricky Rudd, stop short your pit box because Jimmy Johnson is now in the lead lap right in front of you. Again, no changes to the 21 of Ricky Rudd. Matt.
The 20 car steward is in. He says the car is fine, but he's losing his forward bite, which was so great earlier. Greg Zipadelli is going to make that adjustment today.
Well, Jeff Gordon just told his crew that the car is handling well, but he has burned up the brakes, trying to make up those 3 laps. To Gini.
Well, Bobby Labonte saying car's a little loose going down to the track bar. Air pressure adjustment on the right front, but Bobby saying, hey, not too close. I don't want to blow that tire out.
I'll tell you what, though, that 18 car, they won the battle off pit road. That you see right there, they picked up the position. Tony Stewart loses 3 positions. And how about Rusty Wallace? That group picks up 3 spots, as well as Jason Leffler picks up 4 spots. Jimmy Johnson now in the top 10 picks up 2 spots. You see right here, the race off pit road by times. Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd, the real losers. But Ryan Newman, as well as Rusty Wallace, teammates, had the best times, including the pit stop.
That may just be the pit stop that gets Rusty back in contention to try to win this race.
And now is when you'll have brake issues. If you've been using too much brakes, now is when you're going to know it. Bam.
Speaking of issues.
Yeah.
Now
the advice given to Ricky Rudd, stop short in your box because Jimmy Johnson, that pit the car in front of you, is on the lead lap. They didn't want Johnson, when he came into his pit after Rudd, to prevent Ricky from having an easy exit.
And not only that, he hadn't been there all day.
Right.
So now you got to let the driver know, hey, dude, we got somebody in our way here now.
Yep.
This group right here, though, Bobby Labonte, Steve Addington, the crew chief, they got the job done on that pit stop.
Green flag.
77 didn't go, and he's in the way back here off turn 4. What his issues are, but he's going. Looks like he might even come to a stop.
Travis Quaffle, he was still on the lead lap.
Oh, there he goes. He got her going.
Just didn't get going at all. And there you see that chain reaction with cars that's on the lead lap as well. Sterling Marlin in the 40, Elliott Sadler in the 38.
Yep. And that caution flag came at a perfect time, though, for brake issues, because you've been running a lot of green flag run here. You've used a lot of brake, gotten them really hot. Give them a chance to cool. They might come back for you. You only need them for another 100 laps.
Darrell, I really don't agree with what Kevin Harvick in the 29 car is doing right now. He's 64 laps down. He seems to have as good a car as the leaders, but it seems like he battles those guys at the beginning after a restart and kind of jams things up behind him a little bit.
I totally agree, Larry. Shouldn't be up there. Should be at the back of the field. If you want to test, get back in the back and run some laps. Don't get up here amongst the leaders.
Up front, Kurt Busch is keeping close tabs on Bobby Labonte. Here's what Kurt had to say prior to the pit stop.
10-4, you think he can give me a little less gas for nose weight? 10-4, sit it out, guys. As far as the change, just do something minimal. A little bit of bite, this thing about a half a turn, Kurt. Yeah, maybe not that much, but just, yeah, give it some bite.
Obviously, he's been loose, and I tell you, that Kurt Busch continues to impress me. He was thinking, I don't need a full load of fuel to go to the end of the race. Just put me enough fuel in there to get me to the end and put more nose weight and tighten me up, as well as putting that wedge in. Kurt Busch never quits thinking about his race car, even out there racing on the racetrack.
Here he goes for the lead on Bobby Labonte.
Pretty sharp little kid.
He just drove by Bobby Labonte in 18 car.
I think Labonte may have cut him a good bit of slack right there.
But Mark Martin in that 6 car now, he pulls within a car length.
And you see Bobby pull down, and now he'll let Mark go. Still 100 laps to go.
We're told that Bobby Labonte has dropped a cylinder.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's why he's pulling over there.
Jeannie?
Yes, Bobby just coming on the radio, and obviously not very happy. Boy, if it weren't for bad luck, I don't know if he would have any this season. He did indeed drop a cylinder, and his crew chief Steve Addington coming on saying, just calm down, just calm down. But you can understand the frustration in this team.
I'm going to lose a cylinder. I'd rather lose it here than anywhere, because you don't need all that power here. You just need to handle good.
Just under 100 laps to go in the Advanced Auto Parts 500 on Fox.
Earlier, Jeff Gordon, a 5-time winner here at Martinsville. Vibration problems. He went 3 laps down way back on lap 48. He's worked his way back up. Meanwhile, Tony Stewart moved up to second with this clever move on the concrete. Eventually would take the lead and has led the most laps so far today. Kevin Harvick, who swept Bristol, having problems with his clutch. Out of the race for a while, is now back in, but out of the picture. And frustrated by it. Sterling Marlin had problems on lap 275 as he spun out, brought out the caution. That was good news for Jeff Gordon, who climbed all the way back and got on the lead lap. Now he's inside the top 10. Dale Earnhardt Jr. spinning out, bringing out the 10th caution, creating problems. And most recently,
Right there watching Dale Jarrett, the 88 car.
Bring out the 12th caution.
Around, he goes, looks like he's got trouble. He gets a little bit of beating banging right there when he cuts the tire down, but he goes down the next corner and around this car will go, and it does bring out a caution. He couldn't get the car refired, lost a lap because there he is around. Doesn't hit anybody, but does have a flat tire.
Meanwhile, Jeff Gordon is up to 7th. Let's check in with Dick Bergman. Dick?
Mark Martin is going to try to lead a lap. He wants those 5 bonus points. Will Kurt Busch let him by? We're about to find out. Mike?
Good question.
This is no time to play games. I mean, you got to go win the race if you're Kurt Busch. I mean, you want to help your partner out if you can, but got to think about winning first.
with Tony Stewart in the 20 car running in fourth. Got down against Jeff Burton in the 31 coming down the front stretch just for a second. Does not look like Kurt Busch has any intentions letting anybody lead a lap. He stretches it out.
Stewart is frustrated. He couldn't get by Kenseth on the outside. He dropped down to the bottom. Matt holds him up the middle of the corner. Jeff Burton, the lap car, gets by. He knows that his teammate Bobby Labonte is down a cylinder, but he can't get a lane. Here's Rusty right alongside, and Jeremy Mayfield trying to come back.
Yeah, Tony's bottlenecked right now.
He's boxed. He's in a box.
But while he's in that box, Rusty Wallace in that 2 car running in the 5th position, remember had the speeding on pit road about 2 or 250 laps ago. He's moved into the top 5.
Good work by his pit crew on that last stop. Put Rusty back into contention. But Kurt Busch, who has won 5 of his 26 short track starts, is getting away from the field. Here's Matt.
Busch said that it has to be feasible for both the 97 and 6 teams if he's going to let Mark Martin go by, but Tony Stewart has already passed his teammate Bobby Labonte, and like you mentioned, Mike Joy, the W is the biggest item on the agenda. This team needs to bounce back in the points, dropping from 1st to 7th in the past 2 races.
And just remember, even though he's our current champion, he has not won a race since Loudon, New Hampshire, the first race of the Final 10 last year.
Jeff Gordon underneath Ricky Rudd's number 21. That's for 6th place.
You reckon those 97 boys, Jimmy Finning and Kurt Busch, you think they got a concrete car that's something different than everybody else? Because, man, the way he runs at Bristol, now he comes here, runs good at Dover. They've got a package for the concrete.
They have something figured out.
Gordon around Bobby Labonte, whose engine is ailing.
Yeah, the worst thing that can happen, if it stays green, Bobby Labonte wouldn't be that bad off. But on fresh tires, he's going to get outrun pretty badly.
We talk about engine problems. What a shame. Mike Bliss in the 0 car, Hendrick engine package, been in the top 10 all day long. They just made that left-hand turn in the garage area. Engine trouble.
Look who's coming back into the top 10. Jimmy Johnson started deep in the field, had trouble, but for the lead, Mark Martin is going to get to lead a lap.
And this crowd loves it. Mark Martin leading at Martinsville. 84 laps to go. He got the 5 points. He gave it back to Kurt Busch.
Did you think there was a deal made there, as we heard? Yes.
They had enough cushion on 3rd place Tony Stewart at 20 that they could. Now we see this battle right here shaping up for 8.
That 18 is blowing up, though. I just saw him smoke coming out of him.
Oh, Jimmy.
Got down on the inside, got in a little hot, locked it up, and slid up the hill.
And now he's going to lose 2 positions, including the Casey Kane in the 9 car.
But you got to think about Jimmy Johnson, those guys. They were dog meat. They couldn't run a lick. And here they are back in here fighting for another top 10 finish.
But now, Darrell, with that big slide in turn 3, did he make his tires angry?
Nah, not too bad. It's early on after a restart here. The tires are in good shape. If it was later now, it could really be have an effect. That was just driving in hard, getting hard on the brakes, locking the rears up and sliding up the hill a little bit.
A lot of smoke from Labonte now.
Yeah, he's going to, I don't think he can last.
Yeah, it's definitely getting worse and worse these last 3 or 4 laps.
Kurt Busch played a smart game after this restart. He and Mark Martin got far enough out in front of Tony Stewart that it would not set Busch back to let Martin lead a lap, and that's just what they did.
Good battle right here between these 2 guys that have been struggling. Rusty from a penalty and Jeff from a loose wheel. Jeff goes by on the inside, and he's not that far behind those leaders.
His car, Jeff Gordon at 24, so good through the middle of the corner. That pass started back in the middle of 3 or 4. He turned that car to the bottom. He was able to carry that speed down the front stretch and beat Rusty into turn 1. Now he moves into the top 5.
78 laps to go at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Kurt Busch leading teammate Mark Martin in the Advanced Auto Parts 500.
Your current leader with 70 laps to go, coming off his worst finish of the year when he was 35th at Bristol last week. You get a look at the veteran crowd in there with Ricky Rudd, also Rusty Wallace, who's been in and around the lead much of the day,
yeah,
and Tony Stewart having some problems.
Yeah, Tony Stewart looks like he's got problems right now sliding the racetrack, being passed down by Ricky Rudd. And Matt, what's going on?
About a minute and a half ago, he said, I've got a vibration. Greg Zipadelli said, if it gets too bad, bring it in. Remember, they had the issues on their last pit stop, riding around in 3rd, trying to work their way back to the front.
Yeah, he just broke the center out of the wheel. It must have been a loose right in front. As you can see, his entire wheel is broken off. and he is now riding around on the brake rotor trying to get back to pit road, guys.
So, well, Tony Stewart is doing a nice job of steering that in. So when you feel a vibration, any warning that, let's check in with Matt on what Tony was experiencing, Matt?
Chris, that's the tire that they were having issues with on the stop, trying to get that lug off the stud. They could not get the lug off. It took them extra time, and they were trying to make up time. You don't know exactly what the major issue was. Maybe a faulty part, maybe crew member part. They won't know, though, until they take a look at all the pieces. But you can see the wheel there on our screen. This is definitely going to cut his chances for a possible win as Stewart trying to make his way down pit road to Steve.
Matt, Jimmy Johnson made a great recovery all day. Jack Canals told me this morning with 70 to go there would be a caution flag. He said he bet his salary on it. Panhard bar just for them. Dick.
Mark Martin pitted in second position. He has a legitimate chance to win this race. No changes to his race car. To Matt.
66 laps to go. Leader Kurt Busch in. They're cleaning the grill. Just a splash of fuel, and he is away. This team trying to break back into victory lane. They go side by side down pit road alongside their teammate, Mark Martin.
Rusty Wallace needed another great stop from his crew. Didn't quite get as good a one to pick up positions like he did on the last stop.
I tell you who really shined as well, though, that 24 team, Jeff Gordon. It looks like he's going to come out in third on this caution right here, so that's a good stop for that group.
Ryan Newman, outside pole sitter, took a long way to get back to the front, but he is there with Sterling Marlin, Elliott Sadler, Kurt Busch, and Mark Martin. 62 laps to go.
But Kurt Busch in the 97 car, he's making moves to the high side around Elliott Sadler to 38. But remember, he's the first car that has fresh tires right now.
Yeah, when you're on fresh tires, the other guy, you can make that outside look mighty impressive.
And his teammate, Mark Martin, in the 6 car as well made a pit stop. He's following him around the high side.
Well, what you don't want to, what you hope doesn't happen is somebody goes down in the corner and gets into you and shoves you up into that loose stuff. Then you got big trouble.
16 cars on the lead lap. Behind Martin come Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Casey Kane, Ricky Rudd, and Jimmy Johnson. That's your top 10. Then Earnhardt Jr., Quaffle, Nemechek, Stewart stayed on the lead lap, along with Kenseth and Lechner.
Stewart's got another tire down. It appears there's something going on with that race car.
Well, there's no telling how much things he damaged when he was down on the racetrack without the tire and wheel.
Yeah, I think you might be right about the sway bar arm. Looks like the sway bar arm, Matt.
Darrell, he said either the sway bar arm or possibly a broken shock on that right front. He says something is definitely amiss, and you can definitely see it as the car comes up off the corner.
Yeah, it just goes down in the corner, Matt, and just rolls over on the right front. As a matter of fact, he just about spun it out right there. He's pretty much out of control.
Now, Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car, he will get one of his 2 laps back as he drives by Ryan Newman in the 12 car. So he's now the tail end of 1 lap down. And Jeff Burton in the 31 car, remember, he had the tire problem earlier. He is now 2 laps down trying to get 1 back as well in our leader, Ryan Newman in the 12.
Elliott Sadler, pretty much the only one of our top 5 in points coming in here who has had a relatively trouble-free day, fighting for 5th place, surrendering it to Jeff Gordon.
I think he's paying the price for those 45-lap tires right now versus these fresh tires on Kurt Busch, Mark Martin, as well as Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Jeff Burton's going to get a lap back from Ryan Newman. Burton getting back 1 of his 2 laps here if he completes this pass, and he's opening the door for Sterling Marlin.
Oh, there goes the 97 car up the track. That's what I was talking about. It's the only problem when you get up on that outside, somebody shoves you up in the loose stuff.
And I think he saw an opportunity to try to go by Sterling Marlin in the 40. Really drove it into turn 3 and 4 last time as him and his teammate Mark Martin are side by side with Jeff Gordon in the 24. This is a battle for the 3rd position.
Yeah, opportunity knocks. It's Mark Martin.
And Jeff Gordon's going to follow him through that door. But he just drove it in so deep the car just wouldn't stick.
And you just slide up that little bit right in the middle of the corner, and the guy on the bottom gasses it, and he just gets an advantage on you that you can't give up. And look out!
Inside.
Not enough room. Gordon's left side tires looked like they were right against the curbing. There was not enough room for 2 cars there.
Kurt was frustrated because he was caught on the outside. He tried to get down behind Mark and couldn't quite make it. I think that the 24 car definitely saw a chance, an opportunity, and he kind of left himself vulnerable, the 97 did.
It was a late move by Gordon as Busch was trying to come down into the corner. Let's see who went where.
Jeff made an abrasive move here, right there. He stayed in the throttle. He went underneath.
Yeah, actually, you know, Jeff needed to back off and let Kurt in because Kurt had the position. So I would, if you want to, I don't like to blame because, you know, you can always two sides to every story. But that would have been a good time for Jeff to back off and let Kurt in.
But I definitely do not think Jeff Gordon drove up the racetrack into him. Like you say, he could have rolled out of the throttle and gave Kurt the position. It's about the only thing he could have done, Darrell.
One's going down into the corner and the other's going straight. That's the difference.
Used to be, Darrell, you'd want to be up to the numbers of the car on the outside to own the corner.
Yeah, right there. I mean, you know, Kurt's got plenty of room and Jeff's not there yet. There's no way that the spotter would tell you that you wasn't clear low right there.
Now Kurt Busch pulled up next to the pace car to pit, and that is going to cost him one lap.
Yeah, no matter what your problem is, and of course they're trying to stay on the lead lap here, you cannot pull up to pit. You have to wait your time to come to pit road. So it looks like he's going to go an additional lap down as well as the lap they're going to hold.
Kurt Busch has been great on the short tracks, but for 2 weeks in a row, he gets caught up in a wreck. So, Kurt Busch has made a couple of pit stops. He's going to come back out. One lap down. Or excuse me, he'll be tail end of the lead lap. It's Ryan Newman and Sterling Marlin on older tires. It's Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Jr., and Travis Quaffle on newer tires. And it's only 48 laps to go.
Yeah, again, Ryan Newman in the 12, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. I don't think it's so much the problem of 60 laps on the tires. It's those 45 laps to go or more that I think is going to end up biting.
Yeah, they're going to get a good finish out of this just by virtue of being up front.
Tony Stewart led the most laps today, but he's 7 laps down after that wheel problem. Mark Martin to the outside of lap car. Casey Mears trying to draw a bead on the 2 leading Dodges.
Sterling's looking pretty good. I believe he's a little bit better than Ryan is right now. Ryan Newman is just manhandling his car. He has just hustled that car around here today.
But this is a good run for Sterling Marlin in that 40 car. And I know Steve Boyer, his crew chief, made a call earlier to do 2 tires. I totally didn't agree with that, but I think it got him track position, and then they called a caution to be able to change 4 tires. And since then, Dick, it's worked out for him.
It sure has, and I just talked to Boyer, and he said that he thought that 40 car had enough smoke still left in it to be able to beat the 12 car. Spin on the racetrack.
Well, the 43 of Jeff Green goes around again, this time no caution as he's down off the racetrack. We're going to stay green, and that really spreads the field out a bit.
He gets going, so we'll stay green.
Third spin of the day for Green. This time, Michael Waltrip nowhere near him.
Yeah.
Jeff Gordon in the 24, it looks like he might be a little bit faster than Mark Martin in the 6 car, but Mark's running the preferred line.
Yeah, but I think that damage to the right front fender where he got into Kurt Busch could be hurting him a little bit. Here you go, Sterling looking underneath.
There's the Jeff Green spin. And Sterling Marlin, gets muscled around by Ryan Newman. Marlin has never won a Nextel Cup short track race.
Yeah, Ryan Newman in the 12 car, he tried the crossover move. They almost got together, but meanwhile, that's pulled Mark Martin in that 6 and Jeff Gordon in the 24. Right in the equation, Mark Martin side by side for second space.
40 laps to go.
Mark's old car looks pretty smooth right now.
And back to Nick Berggren.
And so my second question for Steve Boyer, Sterling Marlin's crew chief, was, what about Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin? And he just sort of looked me straight in the eye, shrugged his shoulders and said, I don't know. I guess we're all going to have to stick around and see the answer to that question unfold.
But give Marlin a big attaboy. The news got out today that he is 99% sure that his contract with Chip Ganassi won't be renewed, and here he is leading this race just 40 laps from the finish.
And Mark Martin, I'm not sure if he didn't hit the wall coming off turn 2, he got mighty dadgum close.
Right now, just watching our monitor right here, Sterling Marlin is running laps a little bit quicker than Mark Martin in the 6, Jeff Gordon in the 24.
Dodge, Ford, and Chevrolet at the front. Sterling Marlin, Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon.
I think what's happening to Mark is he's being hounded by Jeff Gordon, and there goes Jeff by him, and I think that was distracting Mark.
Yeah, Jeff got a really good run off turn 4 the last time and beat Mark down through the middle of turn 1 and 2. Now he sets his sights on Sterling Marlin in the 40 car. 36 laps to go.
It's all over now, boys.
And how much fresher are Jeff Gordon's tires than Sterling Marlin's?
About 45 laps, which is a lot.
Yikes.
You can just see it in Jeff. I mean, he cuts through the middle. He's back in the gas. And Sterling, I hope you didn't see those replays earlier.
Right there, that's where Jeff Gordon's car's struck. Been so strong, they're side by side. Right there, 35 to go.
Marlin, a good run off the corner and a lot of motor, but he will follow Jeff Gordon off turn 2. Jeff Gordon, new leader in the Advanced Auto Parts 500. While Jeff Gordon runs away and hides, Mark Martin and Sterling Marlin have just given a 10-lap demonstration on why race cars have no door handles. Wham, wham, wham.
They've been beating on each other. But while they were doing that, Casey Kane in that 9 car, he finally got around them, and he is bad fast. And Jeff Gordon better keep an eye on his mirror. Watch this. They get all crossed up here banging on each other, the 6 and the 40, Sterling and Mark. Go down through here, pam, pam. It's not over. Then they get in here.
They did this for about 10 or 12 laps or more right here.
But there's more to come. A little thump.
And here goes the 9. He gets the run. Comes the 12 along with him. A little clearer track here, and that 9 car couldn't chase down the 24.
And the 24 has caught Kurt Busch.
That might be interesting.
Yeah, Casey Kane in the 9 right now with 22 laps to go. He could definitely use a caution flag to get caught back up.
I think Jeff Gordon will be very, very gentle about how he gets around this 97 car.
He made an ill-timed move to the inside of Busch, which sent Kurt spinning and got him a lap down. Here's Gordon to the outside.
He's not making it easy.
No, he is not.
He's not going to make it easy for him.
Nope.
And that's good news for Casey Kane.
I think Kurt drove it too deep down into turn 1 and 2. Jeff Gordon in the 24 will clear him now.
Well, if he drove it deep in there, watch him drive it in here.
I think he made his point.
He's after him, buddy. Come on, get him. No, I don't mean that. Come on, get him. I mean, you know what I mean.
What was that other Aretha song?
R-E-S-P-E-C-T.
Right.
The DW right there, that pulled Casey Kane in the 9 within about 2.5 seconds. And right now, his lap times are about a tenth of a second quicker per lap than Jeff Gordon in the 24. Just don't know if there'll be enough time. This is a battle right here. Rusty Wallace in the 2, Ricky Rudd in the 21 car on the right-hand side of the screen. This is a battle for the 6th position. As they look in on Sterling Marlin in the 40 on the older tires up in the 5th position.
We saw the lap pass Kevin LePage. And who would have guessed at 70 laps in this race when Jeff Gordon went 3 laps down that with 20 to go he'd be leading.
Never count those guys out. You see right there on the left-hand side, Jason Leffler in 11 car, good run all day long, battling Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. That's a battle for the 12th position.
When you run the short tracks and you get so many cautions, you get so many opportunities to overcome bad luck.
A great comeback today for Jeff Gordon and for his teammate, point leader Jimmy Johnson, who is now in 8.6 seconds behind the race leader. He qualified poorly, got laps down early, came back to the front. Rusty Wallace did just the opposite, started 4th, led 47 laps. He fell laps back and has had to climb back to the front.
Right now, he has his hands full of Ricky Rudd in that 21 car. Ricky trying to get his first top 20 finish of 2005. Well, that's the top 10.
Coming out a good qualifying run, which he had to have, and he's having a good performance today. He likes this racetrack. He and Pat back, they've had success here before. He's been hounding Rusty for several laps now. Hadn't been able to make the pass.
But I'm like you, Mike. You talked about Jeff Gordon 70 laps into this race. Who would ever believe Jimmy Johnson, that 48 car, that Chad Knaus and that crew could make the right adjustments to get this guy into the top 10. It didn't even look like they could finish in the top 20. but they never quit, week in and week out. That's the reason they're the points leader.
And that's how you win championships.
Right now, our race leader, Jeff Gordon, in the 24 car, he's in some pretty heavy traffic up there. Greg Biffle in the 16, Dave Blaney in the 07. Casey Kane continued to shave some time. In fact, Casey beat our leader that time by a full half a second. 13 to go.
Jeff Gordon has come from 3 laps down to lead this race going into its final laps. Tony Stewart led the most laps today, lost a wheel, and has fallen back out of the race.
Oh, the 77 car just gave up the ghost here. He just now went in a kind of a big ball of smoke going out into turn 1.
And he's still on the lead lap. He was running in the top 15, but it looks like he going to have trouble getting to the end of this thing unless he comes to pit road.
Bobby Labonte out of the race along with Mike Bliss, Hermie Sadler, Kyle Busch, Bobby Hamilton Jr., Johnny Sauter, Randy LaJoie, and Mike Garvey as we come down to 10 laps to go. Hendrick Motorsports' first ever win came here in Martinsville in 1984. Jeff Bodine was the driver. Hendrick was a single car team called All-Star Racing. Ran without a sponsor that first season. Bodine got them their first win right here.
And Harry Hyde was the crew chief. Good old Harry.
A long and storied 20 years for Hendrick Motorsports as Travis Quaffle blows up down in turn 1.
Caution is out, boys. This is going to be big right here.
Quaffle had been black flagged, was trying to limp it to the finish without success.
I tell you what, that is some kind of good news for that 9 car, because I believe, Larry, he's pretty darn good.
14 cars on the lead lap. Caution with less than 10 laps to go.
This is going to be a tough call for that group at the front, because we've already seen how older tires can pay the price right here. We still have 14 cars on the lead lap, so this is going to be quite the decision, especially on the shoulders of Robbie Loomis in the 24 car, his Jeff Gordon's crew chief. See that crew right there? Tommy Baldwin, crew chief for Casey Kane.
Kind of always think back to what they told Dale at Bristol there when he was leading the race late and he wanted to come for tires. They said, Dale, you're the 7-time champion. You can win this race. I'm sure they're probably telling Jeff Gordon, you're the 4-time champion. You can win this race.
Casey Kane's owner, Ray Evernham, he is Jeff Gordon's former crew chief and probably knows the Hendrick playbook as well as anyone. What will he tell his young driver?
And then we have Sterling Marlin, who's in the 40 car. He's in the 5th position. He's sitting out there on 100-lap tires.
Yeah. I'd kind of like to know what he'd tell him myself.
After Ray Evernham left that team, winning championships and victories, Jeff Gordon's first win after Evernham's departure came right here at Martinsville.
Pit road is open, and it looks like all of the guys at the front of the lead lap, they are staying out. Let's see if anybody back in the pack. It would be a kind of a all-win situation for the cars back there like Dale Jarrett, Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the thing about it, this restart will be a single-file restart. All the lead cars a lap down will be at the back of the pack.
If I was Junior, Dale Jr., he's the last car on the lead lap, Matt Kenseth, even Dale Jarrett, I'd come.
You say that as you see them coming, or?
Oh, they're coming. All right.
Along with Joe Nemechek as well. So all the cars at the back of the pack coming for 4 fresh tires.
Good call, DW.
Well, they got nothing to lose. They're going to be at the tail end with fresh tires. They're already at the tail end. Go for it. As an owner, I'd say it's only $1,800 more. See if you can make it up.
But Darrell, what those guys that did not pit, what they have to do, they have to keep those tires clean. You talked about all that rubber buildup on them, and not spin the tires on this restart with that old low gear laid up in there.
Yeah, and Jeff Gordon's got to be careful, and I know he will. He's a smart driver. He doesn't want to go down into turn 1 on this restart and shove up the hill and open the door for Casey Kane around the bottom, because Kane is good, I'm telling you. He was real good there to get to second.
Chevy Dodge Ford with Mark Martin third. Last October, Jimmy Johnson won this race not knowing of the tragedy that occurred early in the day on nearby Bull Mountain, where 10 members of the NASCAR family, the Hendrick and Hendrick Motorsports family, were lost in a plane crash en route to the race. Johnson won this race. Victory Lane was canceled out of respect. It must be difficult for all of the Hendrick teams, especially Rick Hendrick, to return here. But Jeff Gordon is trying to put the best possible face on this day for his boss and his friend Rick Hendrick, and for that entire extended family by trying to put this car in victory lane.
I think it was special that Jimmy won this race. We're looking at Rick. I'm sure Rick is holding back a lot of emotion right now, and I think it'd be really special if Jeff Gordon came back to win this race. I can't imagine what's going through Rick's mind right now. He looked like he was standing there trying to hold back tears.
Five to go.
Ricky's birthday, his son's birthday, was last week, last Saturday, and I talked to Rick this past week. We're going to do an interview together tomorrow over at Hendrick Motorsports, and he's hanging in there. He's a tough guy.
Rick's brother John was lost in the plane crash along with John's two daughters. Rick's only son, Ricky. Randy Dorton, the head of the engine department. Jeff Turner, the general manager. And other members of the Hendrick Motorsports family, and Tony Stewart's helicopter pilot, were lost in that air crash. Turn our attention back to the track where the starter signals down finger restart, single file, 1 to go. Matt?
Mike, 5 times. Casey Kane has finished second, almost winning his first ever Nextel Cup race last year. Maybe today is the day, but his crew chief, Tommy Baldwin Jr., told him on the radio 2 laps ago, keep an eye on the 24. That left rear tire looks awfully soft, maybe going down. Casey said it looks like it's sort of up, but they are keeping an eye on it.
Their air pressures are so low in the left side tires. Like I said, they start them at single digits. That thing probably doesn't have 15, 18 pound of air in it right now. So I don't think there's an issue with that tire.
3 to go when they come back.
If Casey rubbed on it, there might be an issue with it.
Here we go. Probably the most important restart of these guys all day long. 3 to go when they get the green flag. Jeff Gordon in the 24 gets a good restart. Sterling Marlin in the 40 does not get a good restart.
Rusty Wallace jumps into Sterling, moves up to 5th.
That little bit of edge that Jeff got on that restart is going to make all the difference in the world here as far as a cushion between he and Casey Kane.
Right now, looks like Casey Kane's beating him getting in the corner. Jeff Gordon really pulls him off the corner. 2 to go.
That's the way you run this joint. You ease her down in there, but you try to get it turned and then gas her hard coming off.
And right now, Casey Kane in the 9, he's doing everything he should do. He needs to drive that thing deep in the corner. If he thinks he have a chance, he really pulls close here. We're coming to the white flag.
And just that little bit of a lag in the restart on the 9 car where Jeff got that jump, that 3 or 4 car lane jump, that's just made all the difference in the world.
Chevy, Dodge, Ford, and 2 Dodges, with both Mark Martin and Rusty Wallace in the top 5 in their final Martinsville spring appearance. Jeff Gordon scores his 71st career win and his 6th at Martinsville.
Got him sideways coming across the finish line here. Scott Riggs in the 10.
Yeah, there was some moving and shaking back in there. There's Rick and Robbie Loomis. Good job, man.
For anyone that does not think this is a team sport, they should have seen what this team here overcame today.
From 3 laps down to victory lane.
Mark Martin ended up 3rd. Ryan Newman on those 100-something lap tires ends up 4th. His teammate Rusty Wallace ends up 5th.
12 Martinsville win for Rick Hendrick, Jeffrey Bodine, Jimmy Johnson, 5 for Jeff Gordon, and Darrell Walter, and 1 here for Hendrick Motorsports. And look who's learned to do burnouts.
Yeah, a year or so ago he said he wasn't very good at this.
Doing a pretty good job right now. These fans love it.
Hit a band, Big Jeff.
Won the Daytona 500. They've been on a rock slide ever since. Fell out of the top 10 in points back to 12th, so a great recovery.
you talk about it a lot. I love where they have victory lane here. At the start-finish line on the front stretch where the fans can enjoy it.
Now, instead of the driver driving off track to victory lane, they bring it out here to him.
Yeah, it's a cool deal, and you know, great therapy right here for that whole crowd.
Matt Yocums with the runner-up.
Well, high five from his brother Cale. Now, this was a good run, but this is a run that was a great run for you and this team as far as confidence and some momentum you guys really need.
Yeah, we've been looking for that. You know, we've been picking it up here, you know, running better, and I was hoping we had something for Gordon. I was just pedaling it. You know, we didn't have quite enough forward bite, but it was awesome to run that good here at Martinsville and get a good finish for Dodge dealers, UAW, McDonald's, Jackson Hewitt, everybody.
And he is second again, Mike.
Thanks, Matt. They bring victory lane to the winning car. And that's pretty cool. Darrell says right out in front of the whole front stretch grandstand as Jeff Gordon collects his thoughts and gets ready to climb out. Casey Kane second, Mark Martin third, Ryan Newman fourth, Rusty Wallace fifth, Sterling Marlin a hard-fought sixth, Ricky Rudd, Jimmy Johnson, Elliott Sadler, and Joe Nemechek, the top 10.
You know, you lead all the laps, you win the race, you have great feeling. But when you come from 3 down, it doesn't get any better than that.
Jeff Gordon will jump to 6th in the point standings with this win. Dick Berggren.
Wow, that was some performance. I mean, 3 laps down, overheating. The guy behind you said you had a flat left rear tire in those last few laps. Why did you just not give up early on?
I knew we just had way too good of a race car and a race team. Just so proud of the guys in this DuPont Chevrolet. They never give up, and, you know, I can't give up either. And, you know, there are a lot of special people to Hinder Motorsports and the racing community that we lost here in Martinsville, and it's only fitting that we win this one. Jimmy won it. We won it. Something obviously special about this place. And what just an awesome performance. Oh, guys just never gave up. I'm so proud. I want to thank DuPont, Pepsi, and Lay's, GMAC, Haas, EDS, and Chevrolet. It's an amazing day for us.
How emotional is this win for you?
Well, you know, Martinsville's been so good for us, and we felt like we lost something here the last time we were here with the new concrete, and I'm just so glad we worked hard in getting it back. And you know, I want to apologize to Kurt Busch. I certainly didn't mean to get into him there. We were both racing, you know, hard for that position, and there was not a lot of give right there on either one of our parts. So hate that for him, but I'm just so proud of Robbie Loomis. What a phenomenal race car he gave me today. I mean, you can't come 3 laps down. Of course, one of them was with the lucky dog, but 2 of them were not. So I'll take credit. You know, this team will take credit for those 2, but just an incredible performance. I'm so proud. Man, I don't know what to say. I'm just happy.
Congratulations, a total team performance. Let's go to Steve.
With Mark Martin, his 11th top 5 finish at this racetrack. Mark, 3rd today. Looked like a physical day out there.
Well, man, with 50 to go, I thought we had a chance to win. We were just, I'm so blessed and honored to be driving for this Viagra team, man. They've been with us for 6 years, and what a great sponsor and what a great team, and just so lucky. That's what the Salute Tour is all about, man. You know, we had a shot at it, and that's all I can ask for. I'm really proud.
Thank you, Mark. Martin, let's go to Matt.
Last 2 weeks, 2 very strong race cars for Rusty Wallace, but where do you feel like your day started to take a turn for the worse, Rusty?
Well, it took a turn for the worse when I got caught speeding out the very last segment, you know, 100 laps, 150 into the race. I really didn't think I sped, you know, but I guess when a light comes on up there, it says you did, so, you know, that's the way it is. I just didn't feel like it, but, man, nowadays with the light system, when that light comes on, it says you sped, and so it's the way it is. But that got me way behind. I spent all day long trying to catch back up. Got it up to 5th, and that's all I could go.
A great run for Rusty Wallace, scoring his first top 5 finish this season. Nick?
With Rick Hendrick, your team really did an incredible job today, but we also remember last October. Your feelings at the moment?
I'm really proud of the guys. It was a hard day for all of them, everybody in our organization to come up here, but all the families at home that had loved ones on that plane. This has been what a nice tribute to them, and we're just proud of everything the group done today.
They try so hard for you. Congratulations.
That man is a rock. The strength of his faith. I'm just in awe of it.
Yeah, he told me it was prayers, faith, and friends that got him through all this.
And Jimmy Johnson with the largest lead, points lead so far this season. You see the jump from Jeff Gordon from 11th all the way up to 6th. Kurt Busch hanging in there, his frustration. Thought he had a better car, but certainly within the top spot. And there's some guys on the bubble there. Bobby Labonte in trouble. Some people help themselves.
Yeah, definitely helped themselves like Matt Kist as they jumped up there along with Casey Kane. But, Chris, the one thing about today, we talk about Jeff Gordon being the comeback kid. It was a day of comebacks when you think about the fact it's like Ryan Newman, Joe Nemechek, Jimmy Johnson. All these guys were down, but they never quit. When you look at that number 24 team, they had a slogan a few years ago, refuse to lose. Well, that's what they did today. They didn't want to quit. They kept fighting, and in the end, they were able to overcome. Pretty impressive.
Jeff Gordon was 3 laps down, about 50 laps into the race. In fact, didn't lead the race until 35 laps to go and held on to pull into victory lane. Next weekend on to Texas. Friday, XL Cup qualifying on speed. Saturday, practice on FX, followed by Busch Series racing with the O'Reilly 300 presented by Mr. Clean Auto Dry. That's on Fox. Sunday NASCAR this morning, and then the Samsung Radio Shack 500. You'll see that on Fox. The pre-race show, Elliott Sadler, your defending champ from the Texas Motor Speedway, one of the fastest tracks on the circuit. Tony Stewart led the most laps, 247. Jeremy Mayfield, Rusty Wallace all flirted with the lead at certain times. But in the end, it was Jeff Gordon cashing in for Hendrick Motorsports in victory lane here in Martinsville, where for the most part the hot tempers were cooled down. For Jeff Hammond, Darrell Waltrip, Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, our entire pit crew, I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for watching.